blizzard, several professors and mentors crowded the narrow portholes, blocking the view for those behind. Wow, are they attacking the T3 Hive Mother ship? Although we can't see the ship's weapons clearly, that attack looks like a type of focused laser. This T3 interstellar battleship is a battleship cruiser. Its focused laser can't directly kill a T3 Hive Mother ship. The heavy armor of the T3 Hive Mother ship is so tough that even T3 battleship main guns can't easily hit. The professors and mentors discussed excitedly. The students and teachers behind could only hear their voices. They couldn't see the scene outside the portholes. Suddenly, Teacher Chin asked the professors and mentors in front to step aside. She operated her handheld terminal, took a few actions, and captured the scene outside the porthole, projecting it into the hangar. Now everyone could see the battlefield clearly. In the hangar, all the students and teachers stared at the blue beam, holding their breath. Such a powerful cannon. Xue Xiaoxiao opened her mouth in shock, looking stunned. Suddenly, everyone in the hangar felt a dizzying sensation in their minds, as if they heard some wailing sounds. This is the brainwave resonance of a high-level Hive Mother ship. That T3 Hive Mother ship is crying out in pain. A professor who studied Hive Mother ships exclaimed, clutching his head. Then, an unbelievable scene appeared. The previously stalemated blue beam suddenly pierced through the biological heavy armor of the T3 Hive Mother ship, and the huge ship was directly shot through from head to tail by the blue beam, looking completely chilled. You could see blue light flickering constantly inside its body. Subsequently, explosions continuously occurred inside its body, with green liquid erupting like a volcano and splattering everywhere. Finally, a few seconds after the blue beam dissipated, the T3 Hive Mother ship exploded, with a huge blast that also affected nearby T1 flying insects and T2 spear snakes. This hit the inside the Hive Mother ship that stores biological energy. Just one shot killed a T3 Hive Mother ship. How is that possible? Incredible. Absolutely incredible. The professors and mentors were amazed by this scene. More students and teachers cheered excitedly because it meant their starship might have a chance to escape from this sea of insects. Warner, when did your brother get such a powerful starship? Senior sister Su Lan looked at the scene in surprise and asked Zhao Warner beside her. Zhao Warner didn't know how to answer. She knew her brother had impressive starship research and manufacturing skills, but she had never heard that he could build such a strong T3 starship. And from the time she parted from her brother Zhao Chun at the Arctic Fox starport to now, it's been less than 5 months. He built a T3 starship in less than 5 months? She felt her brother was becoming more and more unpredictable. At this moment, Chu Xian was also present. She looked at the scene of the T3 Hive Mother ship exploding and remained silent for a long time. Earlier, she had only experienced the incredible speed of the T3 Blizzard-class light starship cruiser. But now, this so-called light starship cruiser displayed combat power not inferior to a starship battleship. What could be more shocking than that? Incredible speed and strong attack power. How did Zhao Chen manage to get such a powerful T3 starship? T3 Blizzard-class light starship cruiser. Bridge. When Zhao Chun saw the first T3 Hive Mother ship destroyed, he was slightly surprised. Although he had seen the data for the T3 Blizzard-class light starship cruiser's main gun, which was very impressive, it was even comparable to a T3 heavy starship battleship. But being able to destroy a T3 Hive Mother ship with one shot was truly unexpected. It seems there might be some luck involved. Meanwhile, the T3 Blizzard's attacks had not stopped. Its 4 2,500mm medium electromagnetic cannons fired. The shells, accelerated by electromagnetic technology, shot out of the barrels at incredible speed. They struck the 4 T2 Hive motherships ahead, which exploded one after another, creating a spectacular sight in space. Bow cannon module attack complete. Recharge time, 300 seconds. Main cannon module attack complete. Reload time, 120 seconds. Both of these weapon systems on the T3 Blizzard required long reset times. Fortunately, the 16 medium pulse laser turrets had a much shorter cooldown, less than 10 seconds. Compared to the other two, this rate of fire was already quite fast. Increase speed to 200 knots of star velocity. Charlotte ordered. The T3 Blizzard accelerated. The path cleared earlier by the bow cannon's concentrated laser strike had detonated a swarm of enemy creatures, opening a temporary route. Even so, the remaining swarms still rushed toward Zhao Qin's T3 Blizzard without hesitation. They were now so close that they had begun to affect the ship. A few T1 flyers and T2 stingers had already reached the outer armor, striking at the starship's hull. Since the star shield could only defend in one direction, these smaller enemies had to be handled by the close-in defense guns and combat drones. Luckily, their numbers were not large, and for now they posed no real threat to the T3 Blizzard-class light interstellar battlecruiser. Zhao Qin glanced at Charlotte, whose expression remained calm. Even the tail behind her floated motionless, showing her steady state of mind. Report. 2 high-intensity energy attacks have locked onto our ship. A crew member shouted urgently. Charlotte quickly raised her hand, calculating the enemy's attack trajectory. She immediately ordered the shield operator. Adjust the star shield to the forward/sector. Yes, star shield adjusted to /sector. The crew member responded swiftly. After moving to the star shield position, Zhao Qin and others saw 2 green beams tear through the swarm in front of them, hitting the T3 Storm-level light interstellar battleship's star shield. That is the biological plasma cannon of the T3 Hive Mother ship. It is the strongest attack method of the T3 Hive Mother ship, with power several times greater than the main gun of an interstellar battleship. Ordinary ships of the same level can't withstand this shot. The insect race's professor and mentor shouted as he watched the green beam. Now, they could only stare blankly as the star shield at the front of the ship remained standing, while the green biological plasma cannon hit it, creating countless ripples. Who knows if this starship shield can hold up against these 2 shots? A student muttered nervously. At this moment, the other students were silently praying for this unremarkable interstellar battleship. This was their only hope to return home now. Zhao Qin focused on the star shield data panel. The numbers, which had been decreasing slowly during the previous battle, were now dropping rapidly, losing 1% every second. Zhao Qin could also see the attack on the star shield more clearly, spectacular but deadly. But compared to the crew and students in the hangar, Zhao Qin was calmer, or rather, more confident, because this was his Zhao Qin's interstellar battleship. A few drops of insect saliva? Can't even stop it. What a joke. On the hull of that T4 interstellar battleship, besides the emblems of the Galactic Alliance and the Starshine Empire, there is a golden emblem that looks like a crown at the back. That is the royal emblem of the Starshine Empire. The royal emblem is divided into 3 types: gold, silver, and bronze. These represent 3 different levels within the royal family. According to unofficial reports, only about 5 interstellar battleships have ever displayed the gold royal emblem. To paint the gold royal emblem, one needs not only royal status, but also permission from the Emperor of the Starshine Empire. Inside the ship's bridge, a girl dressed in a golden silk dress sits on a crystal captain's chair. She has a lovely face and a delicate figure, making it clear she could become a great beauty in the future. The entire bridge is decorated in a very feminine style. All the crew members are women, each of whom would be considered the most beautiful in any academy. Miss you. I heard your sister is also among the fleet that faced trouble, the girl said, looking at a female officer with her back turned. Although only her back is visible, her impressive figure is obvious. Her uniform is different from the Empire's usual military dress. It's a white silk uniform with gold accents, highlighting her proud figure. Thank you, Your Highness. I've asked my friends to find a way to help, the female officer replied. However, if you looked into her eyes now, you would see she was clearly distracted. I know your heart has long wished to fly to that blue star region. Over the years, even though you haven't directly involved yourself in your family's affairs in that galaxy, your heart has always been there. Your sister is one of your most loved family members. I also heard that your brother, under the watchful eyes of everyone at the North Star Academy, piloted a T3 interstellar battleship with Governor Chu, his granddaughter, heading to the Blue Star region's Water Lotus star system to rescue people, the girl said. Hearing that her brother had gone, and that he not only had a T3 battleship but also was with Governor Chu, his granddaughter, was a shocking surprise to the female officer. She learned that her brother had handled matters in the Xianglong star system and realized he was growing up. But she didn't expect him to grow so fast. He not only has a T3 battleship, but also has a connection with Governor Chu, his granddaughter. Miss you. I know you're worried about your loved ones. How about this? I will specially approve you to lead a team of my personal guards to support the Water Lotus star system. The girl blinked and said. The female officer looked hesitant, clearly feeling conflicted and complicated. I understand you're concerned about my safety, but don't forget, this is the Imperial Capital Star System. I have 9 other guard fleets. I won't get into trouble here. Also, suddenly appearing with a level 3 universe wormhole and 4 level 2 wormholes in one star system feels suspicious to me. When you go to rescue your brother and sister, please help me investigate this thoroughly, the girl added. The female officer straightened up and gratefully said, Thank you, Your Highness. After giving some instructions, the female officer left the bridge. At this moment, a careful observer would notice that her steps were noticeably faster than before. Blue Star Domain, Water Lotus Star System. Warning. Warning. The starship is under heavy attack. Warning. Warning. The star shield energy is at 85%, 83%, 81%. The green numbers quickly turned yellow, and due to the rapid decrease, a red warning message appeared. 79%, 77%, 75%, 74%. After a few moments, the 2 bioelectric plasma beam shots finally dissipated, and the star shield remained intact at the front of the T3 Storm Snow-class light interstellar battleship. However, the attack from these 2 plasma beams also damaged some of the insectoid units. When the Hive mothership launched its attack, it didn't care whether it would accidentally harm its own insect units. It simply launched the most direct and effective attack. Ultimately, after enduring the attacks from these 2 T3 Hive motherships, Zhao Qin saw the star shield energy level freeze at 63%. Just 2 shots had nearly used up 1/5 of the T3 Storm Snow star shield's energy. If the professors and mentors in the hangar saw this, they would probably be stunned. It's important to note that a typical T3 interstellar battleship, when facing such an attack with its star shield, would normally lose about 30% of its shield energy with a lucky shot, and up to 50% with a less lucky one. These 2 shots alone could destroy most T3 starship shields. But on this T3 starship, only 1/5 of the shield energy was consumed. It is easy to imagine how advanced the star shield defense system of this interstellar battleship is. Warning. 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 Multiple energy attacks locking onto my ship detected. Came the alert again. This time, it was the enemy fleet's T2 Hive mothership and T1 Hive mothership. Charlotte quickly operated the controls in front of her without changing her expression, finally calculating the approximate attack routes for all the assaults. Adjust the star shield to position / Yes, the star shield has been moved to area / The crew member adjusted the shield again. Use close-range guns to concentrate fire on these areas, and fire the secondary guns immediately toward these 16 directions, launching 4 Storm Snow Light interstellar missiles at each of these 4 points. Charlotte kept marking each attack zone. The detailed plan was truly impressive. Zhao Qin watched Charlotte's back, thinking that this deputy captain he bought was really worth it. Meanwhile, the biological plasma cannons of the T1 and T2 Hive motherships were approaching the T3 Storm Snow. Many of their attacks were intercepted by the star shield, with flashes of light appearing on the shield from the impacts. However, because there were so many, some attacks bypassed the shield's defenses. This was the moment when Charlotte's deployment started to show results. Interstellar missiles launched. Secondary guns fired. Close-range guns engaged in firepower interception. 4 interstellar missiles collided with 4 biological plasma cannons and exploded. Ripples spread out from the blasts. The 16 medium-pulse laser secondary guns accurately hit the tiny biological plasma cannons. These were clearly attacks from the T1 Hive mothership. Compared to the T3 Hive mothership, their size and thickness were like a toothpick next to a soda bottle. At the same time, 72 medium close-range guns opened fire, intercepting many biological plasma cannons. But despite this, a few plasma cannons broke through the interception and hit the armor of the T3 Storm Snow-class light starship cruiser. Warning! The star shield is under attack. Warning! The starship's port side armor is being hit. Remaining armor strength in port area, 93%. Warning! The starship's starboard side armor is being hit. Remaining armor strength in starboard area, 98%. Warning! These small, Pin-like attacks are barely felt by the armor of the T-3 storm ship. Zhao Chen didn't even feel any vibrations on the bridge. Interception rate, 93%. Zhao Chen looked at a number quickly calculated by a crew member and showed a look of approval. However, Charlotte looked a bit disappointed and shook her head, seeming unsatisfied with this number. Then she looked at the energy level of the star shield. After the recent attack, the star shield energy dropped to 56%. This shows the difference in attack strength between the T2 and T1 Hive motherships and the T3 Hive mothership. Even so many attacks, they are still less powerful than the two cannons of the T3 Hive mothership. Report. The swarm is now beyond our alert range. Our ship's path is blocked by the swarm. A crew member reported nervously. Right now, looking ahead of the T3 storm ship, it's almost like a dark abyss. The friendly units accidentally hit by the bioelectric plasma cannons just created a small gap, but it was quickly filled again by the dense swarm of insects. With the firepower of the T3 storm ship alone, it's impossible to fully suppress such a large number of insects. From outside, it looks like a giant black abyss is about to swallow the entire starship. It's over. The biggest problem has appeared: insufficient firepower. Insufficient firepower, a professor urgently exclaimed. Another professor sighed and said, the worst thing when fighting the interstellar insects is having not enough firepower. You need enough firepower to suppress them, hold your battle zone, and keep wearing them down. If your firepower is insufficient and the swarm gets close, it will be a disaster for the starship. A female student sat in the corner, crying loudly, Wah. We escaped the planet, but we still can't escape these bugs. Wah. I want to go home. I want to see my mom. The sadness among the students began to spread. Some friends comforted each other, while close friends hugged and cried together. The boy who was frightened by the bug's head and was carried in a princess style earlier, because he had no other friends to comfort him, is now making eye contact with her. Senior sister Sulan. Are we really unable to escape? Shui Xiao, hugging Sulan's waist, said nervously. Sulan remembered the scene during the space battle on the planet, where the man bravely stood in front of her to block the T2 bug spider, and the moment he descended from the black mech's shoulder. She felt a strange sense of safety. She gently patted Shui Xiao's head and firmly said, I believe classmate Zhao Chun. He can definitely get us out. Zhao Wanner, holding Shui Xiao and Sulan's hands, also said confidently, I believe in my brother. Ha ha. No matter how strong your brother is, can he beat those bugs outside? Don't be silly. We're all waiting to die. It's just moving to a different place to die. Zhou Min, sitting in the corner like a beggar, chuckled foolishly. Teacher Qin looked at the tense atmosphere inside the hangar, feeling helpless. She could only look again at the dark bug sea outside the window. Can that boy lead them through this bug sea? Charlotte and Zhao Chun both glanced at the weapon module interface nearby, which displayed all the ship's weapons. The top two options are in red. They are the Blizzard-class heavy cluster laser ship's main gun and the 2,500 mm caliber medium electromagnetic cannon. Blizzard-class heavy cluster laser ships, main gun, 200 seconds needed to reset energy. 2,500 mm caliber medium electromagnetic cannon, 20 seconds needed to reload. Charlotte looked serious. She stared at the bug sea in front of her and decisively ordered, disable the ship's engine restrictions. Increase speed to 300 knots. Open fire with all close-range weapons, and have the interstellar drones intercept T3 self-destructing bugs and T3 corrupted dragons. Launch 4 interstellar missiles ahead in the direction of the ship every 10 seconds. All 16 secondary guns listen to my commands and attack. For main guns are on standby at any moment. Lily, watching nervously from the side, clenched her fists tightly. At this moment, it seemed as if all the spotlight was shining on Charlotte. At this moment, T3 Blizzard seemed to merge completely with the White Tiger commander ship. 4 interstellar missiles were launched first, exploding at Charlotte's designated position, clearing a wide path in front of the T3 Blizzard-class light interstellar battleship. Meanwhile, the close-range guns kept firing, blocking the surrounding swarm from approaching. The interstellar drones also kept moving actively, protecting the ship. Any insect units that attacked the hull were quickly and accurately eliminated by the drones. Suddenly, several explosive whirlpools appeared around the spaceship, and the shockwaves from the explosions even hit the hull. Zhao Chun could hear the impacts, and the entire bridge shook a few times. Fortunately, there was no major damage. It was a T3 self-destructing insect. At the same time, Zhao Chun saw a corrupted T3 dragon pass through the fire interception, opening its mouth to bite directly into the ship's armor, trying to create a hole with its corrosive sulfuric acid. But in the next second, an interstellar drone that was about to return to the drone bay for ammunition supplies charged forward and collided with the corrupted T3 dragon, causing an explosion. The green slime from the T3 dragon splattered onto the ship's paint. "Report, for main guns are ready," the crew shouted. Charlotte's pupils widened, and she shouted sharply, "Aim the 4 main guns at the front of the ship, activate time detonation, and delay by 5 seconds." The 4 2,500 caliber main guns fired 4 shells in succession. Then, 4 explosive whirlpools appeared in front of the T3 Blizzard. This created a clear path for the Blizzard. The Blizzard-class heavy cluster laser ships, main cannon, reset energy storage, requires 120 seconds. The energy of the star shield is continuously decreasing. 46%. Warning: the ship's armor is under constant attack. In the hangar, teachers and students are all surrounded by a sense of danger, but other crew members on the starship remain at their posts. They can even hear bugs hitting the hull, but they do not move. On the bridge, crew members are working at their stations. Vice Captain Charlotte looks serious as she handles battle data. Zhao Chun leans back casually in the captain's chair with a calm expression, as if the swarm outside is just tiny insects. On the ship's external camera feed, only dark bug shadows and debris left by bugs hitting the hull can be seen. Soon, the 3rd main gun is fully cooled down and fires again, breaking through the dense bug swarm in front of the T3 Blizzard. 60 seconds remaining. Zhao Chun silently counts this number. This is the time needed for the front cannon to recharge. These 60 seconds are crucial for the survival of the T3 Blizzard in the Bug Sea. Now, it depends on how strong the T3 Blizzard-class light interstellar battleship is. The interstellar missiles are all used up. For 2,500 mm guns are cooling down again. 16 medium pulse laser turrets, 3 of which are damaged by T3 self-destructing bugs and corrupted dragons. About 1/5 of the 72 medium close defense guns are damaged and unusable, and this number keeps rising. Meanwhile, the large main gun at the front of the T3 Blizzard begins to emit a blue glow, as if energy is gathering inside. Some bugs accidentally enter it and turn to dust instantly. All 50 Blizzard Star drones have been destroyed. It seems impossible for this prey to escape from this abyssal maw. Report: the Blizzard-class heavy cluster laser main gun is ready. The crew's shout can be heard throughout the bridge. Zhao Chun and Charlotte almost shout the same words at the same time. Outside the 7th planet of the Lianxian star system, a fierce space battle is raging. The fight is between a T3 interstellar battleship and a fleet of bugs. If someone were to watch closely, they would see that in just 5 minutes, this T3 interstellar battleship was swallowed by a swarm of insects. The entire insect swarm looked like a black whirlpool, wrapping around the battleship. Just when it seemed everything was about to end, a huge blue light pierced through the black whirlpool, causing countless insects to vanish in the blue glow. At the same time, the blue beam shot directly toward a T3 mothership of the insect hive. Perhaps sensing danger, the T3 mothership reacted quickly, unlike the previous unfortunate ship. It launched a group of round larva-like spores to evade and maneuver away. These spores are AT1 insect species on the T3 mothership, similar to decoy missiles on a battleship, used to block enemy attacks and protect the main ship. Under the impact of the blue beam, all these spores exploded. Finally, the blue beam hit the side armor of the T3 mothership, which was trying to change direction quickly. This collision was like a comet hitting a planet, with the shield and the beam clashing. The entire body of the T3 mothership started to tilt sideways, and its biological armor began to slowly melt. The mothership opened its large mouth, as if roaring in pain, and more insect units flew out from its body, rushing into the beam to try to block the attack. Meanwhile, a blue-white interstellar battleship burst out from the dark insect swarm, following the path of its main cannon. "Don't stop. Full speed ahead, Charlotte shouted urgently. The focused laser beams from the T-3 Blizzard-class light cruiser quickly dispersed. The side of the attacked T-3 mothership showed a large hole, with its biological armor shattered, revealing the disgusting insect organs inside. But the ship was not pierced through completely. The T-3 Blizzard, emerging from the swarm, flew past the heavily damaged T-3 mothership. What was once a very large ship now looked much smaller next to the T-3 mothership. A group of students and teachers watched the scene projected through the porthole. They could clearly see the hole in the biological armor of the T-3 Hive mothership, which revealed one of the Hive's incubation chambers. Inside, countless eggs were tightly packed together, at least tens of thousands. Just looking at it made people's skin crawl. Due to the sudden attack, some eggs broke early, and a few struggling Zerg units could be seen crawling out. In other parts of the ship, many Zerg were roaring at them, but it seemed they couldn't fly in space. They could only watch as the T-3 Storm Snow ship passed by, helpless. Ugh, this might be the closest I've ever been to a T-3 Hive mothership, muttered a professor who studies interstellar Zerg, trembling with excitement. The T-3 Storm Snow Light starship did not attack the badly damaged Hive mothership again. Instead, it flew past it and headed into the distance. Behind, a huge swarm of Zerg was still chasing, like a wave. But without the advantage of surrounding the ship, they couldn't catch up anymore. Some of the Hive motherships fired bioelectric plasma cannons, but only a few hits struck the star shields at the back of the starship. Did we escape? The students and teachers looked at each other in disbelief. They couldn't believe they had survived. Watching the prey fly away, the pursuing Zerg swarm gave up after a while, realizing they couldn't catch up. They opened their mouths in what looked like angry roars. On the bridge of the T-3 Storm Snow Light starship, check the ship's condition. Can we enter Storm Snow Extreme Cruise mode? Zhao Chen asked. Lilith quickly checked the ship's data and soon reported. The hull is damaged in several places, but it doesn't affect entering Storm Snow Extreme Cruise mode. However, the speed should be limited to within 600 star speed. 600 star speed isn't very fast, but as long as they avoid colliding head-on with another T-3 Hive mothership swarm, they can safely escape this Zerg-controlled region. Zhao Chen chuckled softly and said, "Let's prepare to enter Blizzard Extreme Cruise mode. We should leave this terrible place now. These bugs are really too eager. It's our charm. Next time, we'll give them a proper welcome." Yes. The engine's high-load state has been released. Preparing to switch to Blizzard Extreme Cruise mode, Charlotte followed Zhao Chen's orders. The weapon modules on the surface of the T-3 Blizzard ship began to retract, hiding beneath the ship's armor. However, due to the previous battle, some weapon modules malfunctioned and couldn't fully retract. This is why Lily suggested not to go too fast earlier, as some parts of the ship's armor might not withstand the speed. The students and teachers from both colleges were now overwhelmed with joy. They had truly escaped death this time. I never thought this interstellar battleship would have such terrifying fighting power. A T-3 interstellar battleship, fighting alone, not only escaped unscathed but also destroyed a T-3 Hive mothership and heavily damaged another. Incredible achievement. I've never seen this type of interstellar battleship before. Could it be secretly developed by our Northern Star Starship Military Academy? The students and teachers who had just escaped death quickly became fascinated with this battleship. Some professors and mentors started analyzing the battlefield they had just witnessed. Interstellar missiles, drones, closed defense guns, secondary guns, main guns, and a cluster laser at the bow. This firepower setup, forget about our starry empire. Even the entire Galactic Alliance's interstellar battleships don't have such terrifying equipment. Not just any interstellar battleship. Even among the current T-3 battleships, half don't have such strong weapons. If it weren't for its specific ship structure, clearly a battleship, I might even think it's a battleship instead. Professor Chin listened to the professor's discussions and looked out the window at the universe. At this moment, she finally let out a deep breath. The students and teachers of the Northern Star Starship Military Academy were her students. If they had all been lost here, she would be the one to blame. She sincerely thanked the young man, named Zhao Chun, from the bottom of her heart. At this moment, the portholes gradually became covered by a layer of ship armor, preventing everyone inside the hangar from seeing outside. However, The students and teachers who escaped are no longer concerned about this. They are happily chatting about the recent battle and planning to enjoy food and fun once they return. Zhao Chen looked at Charlotte, whose expression was calming down. Although she didn't show strong emotions, it was clear she was also taking a deep breath. Zhao Chen stood up and patted Charlotte's head. Good job. Suddenly, Charlotte shivered all over, her tail standing upright. She quickly jumped back, holding her head, her cheeks slightly red, and looked at Zhao Chen with caution. Don't touch my head. Haha. Okay, I won't this time. Zhao Chen lowered his hand. The feeling of a feline's fur was quite nice, though he wondered what her tail felt like. Perhaps sensing Zhao Chen's gaze, Charlotte's tail immediately curled up. Regarding our T3 blizzard after this battle, how are the battle damage and ship condition? Lily, hurry up and compile the details. Zhao Chen sat back in the captain's chair and assigned a task to Lily. Lily nodded and began to gather data on the battle. Meanwhile, Zhao Chen's eyes flickered slightly as he accessed the system interface. Earlier, on the 7th planet of the Lotus Star system, Zhao Chen had killed a bunch of bugs and completed a system mission. But at that time, due to the rush, he didn't have time to exchange the system rewards and had to set them aside. Now that the danger was over, Zhao Chen took this opportunity to see what rewards he had earned. Mission: use your strength to kill bugs within the specified time. Difficulty: sea level reward. For each kill within the time limit, 1, 10, 100, 1000. The final reward depends on the level of kills. Time limit: 10 minutes. Successfully killed over 1,000 insect units. Mission complete. Please claim your reward. Zhao Chen's mind moved, and he claimed the reward. Reward received: T3 Goddess Academy class starship blueprint. Zhao Chen was stunned. What kind of strange starship was this? He began to read the detailed technical blueprint. This was incredible. Zhao Chen's eyes lit up as if he had seen a beautiful woman. The T3 Goddess Academy is a support-type starship, as the name suggests, an academy ship. It has many training departments for different careers and is equipped with advanced training devices like full simulation cabins. It includes departments for command, interstellar crew, starship engineering, medical care, interstellar combat armor, and fighter pilots. Very comprehensive. Although the T3 Goddess Academy can only hold 10,000 students, it is fully equipped inside. It has everything that the Northern Star Academy has. It also doesn't need teachers or mentors. It has built-in holographic simulation mentors with the most advanced teaching programs in the universe. With these mentors and simulation cabins, a student with no basic starship navigation skills can go from enrollment to graduation in just 1 week if they are only tested for basic interstellar crew skills. Of course, the higher the professional level, the stronger the skills required, and the more time it takes. It can even train scientists in starship theory. Having such a T3 Goddess Academy starship is like having a factory that produces talented people. But there is a restriction: it can only train female students. It seems to be related to the luck bonus Zhao Chen previously offered. As his fleet continued to grow, shortages of personnel would eventually occur. There would also be a big gap in technical talent for support starships like the T2 Hammer-class heavy interstellar industrial ship and the T3 Andromeda-class interstellar medical ship. With this T3 Goddess Academy starship, all these problems would be solved. After all, relying solely on buying existing slaves to supplement personnel is not stable and the quality varies. Commander, our battle report has been compiled. Lilith's words brought Zhao Chen back to his thoughts. Go ahead, Zhao Chen said, looking at Lilith. Lilith raised her hand and showed Zhao Chen a data panel. It detailed the damage to the T3 Blizzard-class light interstellar battleship and their own losses in this battle. All 50 Storm Snow interstellar drones were destroyed, and 50 Storm Snow light interstellar missiles were nearly used up. A quarter of the 72 medium close defense guns were damaged to varying degrees. 14 of the 16 medium pulse laser secondary guns were damaged in previous battles. One of the 4 2,500 mm caliber medium electromagnetic cannons had a minor wiring issue. The Storm Snow-class heavy multi-beam laser ship's main gun is functioning well. The Star Shield has 29% energy remaining. Our Star Shield system can recover on its own within 48 hours during normal operation when the ship's energy is sufficient, or it can be accelerated inside the T2 Hammer or Starport. The ship's total energy is at 31%, and ammunition supplies are at 35%. The most used ammunition is for the closed defense guns, which are almost depleted. The remaining resources are more than enough to return to the North Star system. If we go into another fight, the situation might be uncertain. The ship's armor has been damaged by 47% overall, with the most severely damaged area reaching 80%. The main structure of the starship remains unaffected, and no crew members are injured. Zhao Chen chuckled softly and patted the armrest of the captain's chair. Our first battle with the T3 Storm Snow was quite intense, but it also shows the combat ability of the T3 Storm Snow, Charlotte said excitedly beside him. This starship's speed is unmatched among T3 series ships. In terms of combat power, it has far surpassed the interstellar battlecruiser class, and it would be no problem to classify it as a star battlecruiser. Although it's a light starship, I think it feels more like a medium-sized starship. It was clear that Charlotte really liked this T3 Storm Snow. As she praised it, her tail kept wagging behind her. In this battle, the T3 Storm Snow destroyed one T3 Hive Mother ship, severely damaged another T3 Hive Mother ship, and destroyed 4 T2 Hive Mother ships, along with several T1 Hive units. The estimated number of insectoid units killed is nearly 1 million, most of which are low-level T1 flying insects. Lilith also shared the enemy destruction data. Zhao Chen smiled wryly and said, "Those are all bright, shiny star coins. It's a pity that, given the situation back then, we couldn't bring back the bodies of those bugs. Not to mention anything else, just the remains of the T3 bug nest mother ship, although shattered and in poor condition, are worth at least a few million star coins." That's enough for Zhao Chen to build a new T2 class starship. At our current speed, how long will it take to leave the dangerous area controlled by the interstellar bugs? Zhao Chen asked. About half an hour, Lilith replied. Zhao Chen nodded. There's no rush to leave the bug-controlled zone. Let's just cruise at a normal speed and let everyone rest. We've been rushing all this time, plus the intense battle. Everyone is very tired. Understood, Lilith noted. When they arrived, everyone was in a hurry. Now that everything is done, there's no need to rush back. The students and teachers from both academies, who had been excited just to escape alive, gradually calmed down and sat lazily in the corners. At this moment, a student from the Tianyao Noble Starship Military Academy approached the hangar door. Stop. This is the commander's order. Your activities are limited to this area. A crew member with a laser gun blocked the student's path. Hey, are you guys serious? We've been here for over an hour. Don't talk about eating or drinking. No chairs have even been brought for us. We're students from the Tianyao Noble Starship Military Academy, not prisoners. Can't you at least arrange a comfortable room for us? Sitting on the ground is killing a male student said arrogantly. This boy came from a wealthy family and was used to being arrogant at the academy. He was frightened and panicked when attacked by the bugs, but now that he's safe, his arrogance is back. Our commander has given orders. You are not allowed to leave this hangar, the female crew member said firmly. I don't understand why you're so stubborn. My father is a count, and I will be a count someday. Why did your commander come all this way to rescue us? Isn't it just to flatter us nobles? You half-beast crew members, move aside. Within our territory, you lowly half-beasts have no right to breathe the same air as me. Pa. The male student spat disdainfully on the ground and made a move to force his way into the hangar. The female crew member clenched her laser gun but hesitated to fire, unsure if offending this noble student would cause trouble for the commanding officer. She didn't care about being insulted. She cared about the safety of her commanding officer. The other teachers and students present were annoyed by the male student's attitude, but because of his noble background, they didn't say anything. Everyone was a noble, and no one wanted to offend others for no reason. Hey, this is someone else's spaceship. On their ship, you must follow their rules. Don't forget, if it weren't for these brave half-beast crew members fighting hard, you'd still be feeding bugs on that planet. Chu Xin stepped forward to speak up for the female crew member. Who do you think you are? My father is a count. Before the male student could finish, a hand reached in from outside the hangar door and pressed down on his head. Then, with a loud bang, the male student's head made close contact with the ground, blood splattering, and his teeth flying out. What are you doing bothering on my spaceship? Zhao Chen squatted down. looking coldly at this so-called count's son. Everyone in the two academies was shocked by this scene. They didn't expect Captain Zhao Chun to actually dare to act. But thinking back to that planet, he was a fierce character who dared to squeeze bugs with his own hands. The male student struggled painfully, but the hand on his head felt as heavy as 1,000 pounds, making it impossible for him to break free. Zhao Chen stared coldly at the male student. He had long expected that some students would be arrogant and domineering, especially those from the Tianyao Academy, born with golden keys in their mouths. But he didn't expect that just now, he would hear this guy insulting his female crew member. My woman, and you dare to insult her? You, let go of me. Don't think that just because you saved me, I won't dare to do anything to you. I am a count's son. The male student was still arrogantly shouting at this moment. Zhao Chun let go and stood up. The male student finally took a breath and was about to stand up and shout at the rude person. But in the next moment, his head made close contact with the ground again. This time, Zhao Chun stepped directly on his head. What? I didn't hear clearly? After one step, Zhao Chun pulled back his foot. I will. Junk. What? My ears aren't good? Say that again. Zhao Chun stepped on him again, then withdrew his foot. I won't let this go. What? You said grandson? Are you calling me your grandson? I don't have such a grandson. Don't just make up relatives. Zhao Chun stepped on him once more. The teachers and students nearby were stunned. Zhao Chun kept stepping, each time releasing his foot after stepping, then stepping again. Eventually, the male student didn't dare to lift his head anymore, because Zhao Chun's face carried a fierce, terrifying anger, perhaps from the previous insect-killing experience. His killing intent was still very strong. The teachers and students didn't dare approach and forgot to stop him. Zhao Wan'er, Su Lan, and others were stunned by this confident, commanding man and didn't react for a moment. Zhao Wan'er noticed that this time, when she saw her brother again, he seemed even more charming and charismatic. Please, don't step on me again. I was wrong. The male student was begging for mercy in terror, looking at this man as if he were more frightening than a bug. Zhao Chen's cold gaze fixed on the boy, whose face was now bloodied and unrecognizable after being stepped on. This is my starship. If I hear one more word that annoys me, I don't mind taking the starship back and leaving you to feed the bugs. Why, yes. I was wrong. The boy kept begging, terrified of this man. At this moment, Teacher Chin hurried over, looking flustered. From her sleepy eyes, it was clear she had just woken up. She hadn't closed her eyes during the recent battles, so she looked exhausted. What's going on? Teacher Chin looked at Zhao Chun, who was full of anger, then at the disfigured student on the ground. Teacher Chin, don't bother with him. It's his own fault, Chu Xian said, walking over and disdainfully looking at the boy on the ground. She hates two types of people. One are those who abuse their status to act arrogantly and do wrong, and the other are those who bully starship crew members. Unfortunately, this male student broke both rules. In Chu Xian's view, the half-beast female crew members on Zhao Qinxing's starship are very responsible and admirable soldiers. But this person is a count. I worry it might affect Zhao Chun. Teacher Chin looked at Zhao Chun with concern. She also dislikes such students. If she had to hit him, she would, but she was more worried about how it might affect Zhao Chun. This surprised Zhao Chun a little. He had a good impression of Teacher Chin. A count? Do we have a noble family like the Chu family? Chu Xian chuckled softly. The Chu family. Teacher Chin was stunned, then stared directly at Chu Xian. It seems she just called her Teacher Chin earlier. You are Chu Xian from the Chu family, Teacher Chin suddenly exclaimed. Her voice echoed throughout the hangar, startling everyone, teachers and students alike. No one expected the famous Chu family's young lady to be on this starship, participating in their rescue mission. Teacher Chin didn't recognize me earlier. Chu Xian affectionately took Teacher Chin's hand. Teacher Chin smiled and gestured. The last time I saw you was 10 years ago. You were only this tall then. 10 years had passed, and she had become a young lady. She hadn't recognized her at first. Zhao Chen, you might not know. Teacher Chin is the daughter of Dean Chin from Beiji Star Academy. Normally, I should call her Aunt Chin, but she doesn't like it when I do, saying it makes her sound old, Chu Xian explained to Zhao Chun. Zhao Chun looked at Teacher Chin in surprise. This elegant, outstanding woman was actually the daughter of Dean Chin? Dean Sheen has been immersed in research since she was young. She was a late-born girl, Chu Xian explained, noticing Zhao Chen's surprise. So that's how it is. Teacher Qin, wait a moment. I still have something to finish here, Zhao Chen said with a smile, then looked at the male student still lying on the ground. The moment he felt Zhao Chen's gaze, the male student trembled all over, afraid that Zhao Chen would kick him again. My starship's floor isn't allowed to have dirt. All that disgusting blood and other stuff. You better lick it clean. If I see even a drop left behind, you know what will happen, Zhao Chen said coldly. Because of what just happened, there was already a pool of blood from this male student on the ground, along with the saliva he had spit out earlier. The male student was stunned. Lick it clean? This was a huge to his pride as a noble son. But thinking about how unreasonable and terrifying the person in front of him was, he could only nod repeatedly and start licking the blood he had just spit out, bit by bit. However, because he had a wound on his face, each time he licked, some blood would drip again, as if he could never finish cleaning. Seeing Zhao Chun humiliate this student from Tianyao Academy, Teacher Qin felt worried. But when he saw Chu Xian nearby with a calm expression, he felt relieved. From the look of things, Chu Xian was supporting Zhao Chun. If that was the case, then a mere noble was indeed not to be feared. Listen carefully, on this spaceship, my words are commands. Anyone who dares to disobey my orders, don't worry about their status. Even if the King of Heaven comes, they will crawl on the ground for me. If anyone dares to insult you, cut out their tongue, Zhao Chun said seriously, looking at the hesitant female crew member. Although his words sounded like a stern warning, inside, the female orc crew member felt warm. The commander was standing up for them, the female orcs, even if it meant offending the nobles. Yes, the female orc stood straight and responded. Zhao Chen's cold gaze swept over the students and teachers inside the hangar. At this moment, no one dared to speak. I hope what happened earlier won't happen again on my spaceship. I don't care about your identities, and I don't need your gratitude or thanks for saving you. I don't want any of that. All I want is for everyone to stay safe here. When we reach a spaceport, I will let you go. Let's each go our own way and find our own mothers, Zhao Chen said coldly, then turned away and left the hangar. Our commander seems to have made a bad deal. He offended a group of noble young masters for one crew member, losing a chance to make connections with them. This is a big loss. Charlotte was standing outside the hangar corridor, having just seen everything that happened inside. She looked at Zhao Chun with a gentle smile. This was the first time she teased her, master, who bought her. Here, I decide what's fair and unfair. Bullying my crew is not allowed, Zhao Chun snorted. Come on, let's go to the dining hall to eat. Charlotte watched Zhao Chun walk ahead. She kept her hands behind her back, her tail swaying naturally as she followed behind him. It was clear she was in a good mood. The hangar was very close to the starship cafeteria, just a few steps away. Through the transparent glass of the restaurant, she could see the hangar entrance directly. The two places were right next to each other. Inside the starship cafeteria, about a dozen crew members were resting after their shifts. After a big battle, Zhao Chen specially arranged for crew members at different stations to take turns resting, so they could shower, eat, or take a short nap. Zhao Chen took a moment to come with Charlotte for a meal. Lily was on the bridge, and after they finished eating, she would return to the bridge to replace Lily. On the way, they also heard some noise coming from the hangar. Commander, Vice Commander, would you like something? After a big fight, you should eat something good to recover. The chef enthusiastically offered food when he saw them. Before Zhao Chen could order, Charlotte quickly named several dishes. A plate of braised fish, a bowl of radish fish head soup, a small side of dried small fish, and for the main course, eel rice bowl. Then Charlotte went to find a seat, wagging her tail as she waited for her food. No wonder she's a feline. 4 servings of fish in one meal. Zhao Chen couldn't help but smile and ordered himself a bowl of rice, along with 1 meat dish, 2 vegetable dishes, and a bowl of soup. Compared to Charlotte's hearty meal, his was much healthier. Zhao Chen sat across from Charlotte. Is there anything you want to talk to me about? Zhao Chen looked at Charlotte, who was silently waiting to eat. Talk about what? Charlotte looked at him with confusion. Zhao Chen hesitated and said, it's about what's coming next. Because of our reckless actions this time, our T3 Blizzard-class light interstellar battleship has been exposed, and it will surely attract some attention. Afterward, there were many troublesome matters, and they might even put us in danger. Charlotte blinked and said, "Aren't all these your problems?" She continued, "I was bought by you, so whatever you need us to do, we will do it. As for the results of those actions, that's not our concern. How you handle these matters is your responsibility as the commander." Zhao Chen chuckled and said, "You really have a big heart. Aren't you worried I might cause some big trouble?" "I believe in you," Charlotte said casually, but her words gave Zhao Chen an odd feeling. At that moment, Charlotte's full fish feast arrived. Her pupils suddenly widened several times. Although she had eaten this meal many times before, she still couldn't resist the temptation of these delights. Just as Zhao Chen was about to speak, Charlotte glared at him and said, "My mom said that eating is a sacred and great thing, and no talking allowed." After that, Charlotte started to enjoy her full fish feast. Unexpectedly, Charlotte had this little habit. Watching her pick at the fish was actually quite cute. At first, I thought these dishes would be a lot, but in no time, Charlotte had finished half of them. "I should have ordered another fishball," Charlotte muttered softly, seeming a bit dissatisfied. Zhao Chen began to doubt whether this white tiger's bloodline was pure. But with Charlotte ordering like this, unless she had the special benefits of the Falcon Dragon fleet, such a large amount of fish and meat would probably be finished by the regular crew in a week. After that, they would have to go without and just endure the hardship. Meanwhile, in the hangar, because of the commotion Zhao Chen caused earlier, the students and teachers felt much calmer. However, Zhao Chen's impression as a commander divided opinions into three groups. One group thought Zhao Chen was too arrogant. Although he saved them, his attitude towards noble children was disrespectful, rude, and overbearing. Most of these people were students from the Heavenly Glory Academy. Another group believed Zhao Chen's protective attitude was incredibly cool and handsome. This part mainly focuses on the girls from the North Star Academy, especially Xue Xiaoxiao, who becomes the leader. She keeps asking Zhao Wan'er about Zhao Chen, almost questioning his entire family history. The last group is the neutral faction. They believe these matters are not important. As long as they can leave this terrible place safely and reach a starport smoothly, they are happy. Right now, sitting on the hard floor is better than talking to bugs on that planet. Outside the hangar, footsteps are increasing. Through the door, you can see the crew moving around on the spaceship. Suddenly, students and teachers smell something nice. That smells like meat. Braised pork. I had it last month, a student exclaimed in surprise. There's no way this spaceship has braised pork, but now that you mention it, I am really hungry. The smell makes many people inside the hangar feel hungry because they haven't eaten much in the past 3 or 4 days. Before that, when their spaceship crash-landed on the planet, the storage room with artificial nutrition packs unfortunately exploded. So, for the past 3 days, they hardly ate anything. They were under a lot of stress and had fought many battles, which used up a lot of energy. They might not have noticed the danger before, but now, hunger is hitting their brains hard. A female student can't help but walk to the hangar door. Seeing the female crew member's eyes, she quickly says, "I'll just look outside from the hangar door to see if everything's okay." The female crew member hesitates. The commander said they are not allowed to leave the hangar area, but standing at the door to look outside seems okay. Seeing that the crew member didn't say anything, the student stands next to her and looks outside. What she sees shocks her. She almost drools. Right across from the hangar door is the transparent glass of the spaceship's dining area. She can see crew members inside, happily eating and chatting. They are eating all kinds of natural foods, not the tasteless artificial nutrition packs. "Oh my God, do you all usually eat this kind of food?" The student can't help asking the crew member. The crew member nods. Perhaps it was because the female student's exaggerated expressions confused everyone. They were all children of noble families, able to indulge a little. They could eat natural foods for 20 days each month, delicious things like bread, milk, and mashed potatoes. Could the food on the spaceship really be better than what they ate? Some students, not believing it, walked over. When they reached the door, their steps stopped, and they stared intently at the restaurant across from them, occasionally swallowing nervously. Look, they're eating only natural foods. Lots of pork, beef, lamb, and various fruits, a girl exclaimed with envy. This made the students and teachers who hadn't seen it for themselves think the same thing. How is that possible? Zhao Wan'er heard a voice nearby. Shi, Su Lan, Chu Xian, and others all looked at Xue Xiaoxiao's stomach at the same time. Xue Xiaoxiao held her small belly and pouted. I haven't eaten much these past few days. If Sister Su Lan hadn't given me a leftover nutritious meal, I would have starved. Not to mention, we've been talking about this spaceship and the battles. Now I'm really hungry. Wait here for me a moment, Zhao Wanner said as she headed toward the hangar door. Excuse me. Excuse me. Zhao Wanner finally squeezed to the front of the crowd, just in time to smell the delicious aroma from outside. The smell made her even more eager, stirring her appetite. Although she had brought some ingredients back before leaving Zhao Chen's spaceship, she had already finished them all. After eating foods made from natural ingredients, the taste of artificial food was completely different, like heaven and earth apart. Over the past few months, she had lost 10 pounds. Ignoring the surprised looks from those around her, Zhao Wanner walked straight out of the hangar. The half-beast female crew member guarding them didn't move at all. This scene stunned some of the people nearby. Hey, why can she go out? A student from Tianyao Academy couldn't help but point at Zhao Wanner's departure and ask in surprise. A student from Beiji Star Academy, who knew the truth, looked at the Tianyao students with a look that said they were being silly. She's our commander's sister. What do you think? The half-orc female crew member spoke expressionlessly. Those unaware of her true identity looked blank and confused. So, this was the real relationship. Under their gaze, the girl walked into the Starship restaurant, which looked like a paradise. Zhao Wanner, familiar with the place, went to the food counter and quickly ordered enough for 4 or 5 people. Then she scanned her ID. After all, Zhao Wanner was officially listed in Zhao Chen's Dragon Falcon fleet as the captain of the T2 Queen B-class heavy carrier starship. Since it was almost the end of the month, she could enjoy her meals without worry. A call came from behind. Zhao Wanner looked over and saw Zhao Chun and Charlotte at a table. Zhao Chun was waving at her. Since her food would take some time to prepare, Zhao Wanner sat down beside Zhao Chun. Her attention was naturally drawn to the full fish feast in front of Charlotte. She leaned close to Zhao Chen's ear and whispered, "Is Charlotte really from the White Tiger clan? Are you sure she's not from a different cat clan?" "I'm also suspicious," Zhao Chen nodded seriously. "Charlotte is truly from the White Tiger clan bloodline." Charlotte, holding a fish bone she hadn't finished, declared her pure bloodline. Zhao Chun and Zhao Wanner nodded at the same time, pretending to believe her, but their eyes met and they shared a silent understanding. "Are you going to stay in the hangar longer?" Zhao Chun asked Zhao Wanner. Earlier, on the bridge, Zhao Chun had sent her a message telling her she could leave the hangar freely, as she was no longer restricted. But Zhao Wanner said she preferred to stay in the hangar a bit longer. I think it's better to stay with senior sister Su Lan and the others for now. It wouldn't be right for me to just run off and enjoy myself alone," Zhao Wanner mumbled. Zhao Chen nodded. Right now, only Zhao Wanner and Chu Xian were allowed to move freely on the starship, and Chu Xian's area was still limited. As for everyone else, they should just stay quietly in the hangar. "Are the students and teachers in the hangar hungry?" Zhao Chun asked with a smile as he took a bite of his food, looking at Zhao Wanner. Zhao Wanner nodded. "Well, even if we're hungry for a while, it won't kill us. I just want to bring some food to Sister Su Lan, Xiao Xiao, and the others." As she spoke, Zhao Wanner looked at her brother with some worry, afraid he wouldn't agree. "They are your friends, so bringing food in is fine. After we finish eating, I will give them permission to go to the activity area next to the dorms, besides the hangar. You can take them to an empty room to wash up. It's been 3 days since they last showered, and they smell terrible. Hurry up and stay away from me. I don't smell good anymore," Zhao Chen said with a look of disgust, pretending to pinch his nose. "Smelly?" Zhao Wanner was surprised. She sniffed herself and suddenly felt like gagging. Actually, she found the smell quite strong. Normally, not showering for 3 days isn't a big deal, but these past 3 days, they had been living among bugs, and some bug juices even splashed on them. That smell is really hard to describe. "You think I smell bad? Well, I'll make you smell worse," Zhao Wanner said with a serious face, then suddenly pounced at Zhao Chun, showing her claws. Zhao Chun held his bowl, leaned to the side, and used his foot to press a bowl against Zhao Wanner's face. Why a bowl? Because Zhao Wanner also had a smell on her face. Ugh ugh ugh. Zhao Wanner struggled, but Zhao Chen's strength was too much for her. Soon, the kitchen staff's calls could be heard from the dining area, as Zhao Wanner had said she wanted to get her own food. I'll go deliver food to Sister Su Lan and the others. Zhao Wanner, feeling defeated, angrily ran to the dining table. She looked at a prepared food cart, filled with the dishes she ordered. After thanking the chef, Zhao Wanner pushed the cart and left the spaceship restaurant, heading toward the hangar next door. The students and teachers gathered at the hangar door could only watch and wish for more. But they were surprised to see Zhao Wanner returning, pushing a food cart. Move aside. Move aside. Zhao Wanner's voice was loud as she arrived. Please make way. A female orc crew member helped clear the crowd at the door so Zhao Wanner could smoothly push her cart into the hangar. As Zhao Wanner pushed her food cart through the crowd, everyone could smell the delicious aroma coming from it. However, because the lid was closed, they didn't know exactly what was inside. But one thing was certain. It must be tasty food. Sorry to keep you waiting, Zhao Wanner said as she approached the eager Xue Xiaoxiao and others, pushing the cart. She pressed a button on the cart, and it automatically transformed into a temporary dining table with several seats around it. Under the watchful eyes of teachers and students, Zhao Wanner lifted the cover. Suddenly, the wonderful smell filled the entire hangar. There was a big plate of rice, a plate of bread, and several dishes in the middle. Fish soup, pork rib soup, braised beef brisket, lion's head meatballs, pizza, braised chicken wings, potato pancakes. Counting carefully, there were at least 10 dishes. There was also a plate of fruit, with slices of watermelon and bunches of grapes. Everyone around started swallowing hard. This meal was as good as a high-end restaurant. Zhao Wanner picked up a damp towel prepared beside the table and wiped her hands. She then picked up her bowl, ready to eat. But she noticed that Su Lan, Xue Xiaoxiao, and others were still standing nearby, looking stunned. Senior Sister Su Lan, Xiaoxiao, what are you all staring at? Come sit and eat together. Teacher Qin and Miss Chu Xian, you should join us too. First, wipe your hands with this damp towel. My brother said that after we finish eating, we can go to the dormitory area next door to wash up and rest. Zhao Wanner invited everyone to sit down. Xue Xiaoxiao immediately sat down, her eyes scanning all the food on the table eagerly, ready to dig in. Wash your hands first. Su Lan gently tapped Xue Xiaoxiao's head. Xue Xiaoxiao stuck out her tongue and obediently wiped her hands with the towel. Thank you, Wanner, Su Lan said gratefully. She dried her hands and sat down to enjoy the meal. Compared to Xue Xiaoxiao's wild eating, Su Lan was much more elegant. I don't think I should sit down now. Teacher Qin hesitated. She looked at the table full of food and couldn't help but swallow. But she also saw the eager gazes of the other students around her. As a teacher, she felt it was awkward to sit down. This meal is on me. My brother also said I should thank you properly, Zhao Wanner said. No. We should be thanking your brother. If he hadn't risked coming to rescue us, we might all be dead now, Teacher Qin quickly said. After Zhao Wanner repeatedly invited him, Teacher Qin had no choice but to sit down, though he ate very slowly. After thanking her, Chu Xian also sat down. She wasn't very hungry compared to others, as she often ate similar food in her own family. But she didn't expect that ordinary crew members on this starship could eat such high-quality food. That meat looks so delicious. Don't talk about meat. Even if they gave me a bone now, I could chew it apart. Stop it. I feel like I'm about to faint from hunger. The other students and teachers in the hangar were all very hungry. They had been holding back before, so it was okay. But seeing others enjoying delicious food right in front of them was almost torture. Their hunger kept overwhelming their minds. Teacher Qin saw this scene and felt uneasy sitting there. He looked at Zhao Wanner, opened his mouth to speak, but couldn't say anything. Just then, a group of female crew members entered the hangar. One of them was dressed as a chef. Everyone, our commander has noticed that you've been starving these days, so we are here to provide meals and take orders. Hearing this, the students and teachers cheered loudly. They started imagining enjoying all kinds of tasty food. They didn't need the fancy dishes Zhao Wanner had. Just a simple 3-course meal with soup would be enough. Suddenly, a holographic screen appeared in front of everyone, showing various dishes with prices listed. A loaf of bread, 5 stars a serving of rice, 10 stars fried rice, 30 stars. What does this mean? One student asked. The chef smiled and explained, we offer paid meals with clear prices. If you want to order, you can do so here. We will prepare the food for you. You can pay using the Empire bank account. As he spoke, the female crew member nearby took out a card reader. Whenever inside the Galactic Alliance and in a signal area, the card reader can scan and transfer funds from the other person's card. Wait, you want money too? A student exclaimed. The crew member replied, do you think you can eat for free? This made the teachers and students who were unhappy silent. Paying for food is a normal rule. Also, the prices on the menu are mostly the same as outside market prices. Teacher Chin saw this and felt relieved. She thought there was nothing wrong with paying for meals. Everyone here is wealthy and powerful. Even the teachers and professors, though they don't always eat natural ingredients, can afford a meal with meat once in a while. It's not a big burden for them. I'm starving. I'll order food. A female student from the North Star Academy couldn't hold back and ordered 3 or 5 dishes. Although she ordered a lot, most of the dishes weren't expensive, costing about 50 star coins in total. Then I'll order 2. I don't have much pocket money, so just a bowl of rice is enough. Do you have artificial nutrition meals here? Just give me a piece of bread. Someone asked about nutrition meals, but was told the spaceship doesn't have any. Everyone was once again amazed at how luxurious this spaceship was, not even offering nutrition meals. Yet all crew members enjoyed this kind of food. What was the commander thinking? Wait, why is my bill so high? It shows I need to pay over 1,000 star coins. I ordered the same meal as her, but I'm paying 10 times more. A boy saw his bill and questioned loudly. The crew member looked at him with a blank expression. Because you just spoke badly about our commander. So if you order, the price is 10 times higher. You should be thankful you're from North Star Academy. Or, the crew member stopped and snorted coldly. What's the rule? Because I complained a little, I have to pay 10 times more? I don't agree, the boy shouted. The next moment, several female crew members with laser guns in their hands flicked them slightly. One of the female crew members, who looked like the team leader, said coldly, the commander's words, my food, my price. I set the price as I want. If you like it, buy it. If not, don't. If anyone dares to cause trouble, just throw them off the spaceship. Hearing this, the young man immediately covered his mouth. He remembered how the student from Tianyao Academy was treated earlier. He had no doubt that the man really would do that. Are you going to order or not? The chef, smiling gently, looked at the young man. The young man looked at the sky-high price of 1,000 stars. It was almost enough for a regular maintenance of his own spaceship. But his stomach was growling loudly, and in the end, he decided to be brave. He removed some dishes, leaving only a bowl of rice and a small side dish, and paid the fee. Even so, it cost him nearly 300 stars. I didn't say anything bad about your commander. Why is my meal 3 times more expensive? Asked a student wearing the Tianyao Academy uniform. The chef explained with a smile, because the original price is the student price of Beiji Star Academy. For non-students, the price is 3 times higher. Sulan, who was eating, almost choked on her food. Warner, your brother isn't becoming a greedy merchant. He's really talented, Sulan said with a mix of amusement and disbelief. Zhao Warner also realized that her older brother allowed her to bring food to eat just to tease these people. It turned out she was being used by her brother. After hearing how expensive the prices were, half of the students who still wanted to order quietly returned to their seats. The chef didn't mind this scene at all. He continued smiling as he collected the money from the teachers and students who paid for their meals. His smile was as bright as ever. Thank you for your patronage, the chef said happily. To the teachers and students, he looked like a typical greedy merchant. I just want a steamed bun, an elderly professor approached, pointing at the cheapest item, which cost only 3 stars. Since this professor was from Tianyao Academy, according to the previous ordering rules, he would have to pay 3 times the price. Just as the old professor was about to open his electronic account to make a payment, the crew member holding the card reader silently withdrew her device. The old professor looked at her with confusion. We won't charge you. Your meal has already been arranged, the female crew member replied. Not charging. Why? The old professor asked, puzzled. The female crew member smiled and said, You are Professor Jiang, right? During your time at Tianyao Academy, you researched a medical drug but didn't take any patent fees for it. Instead, you shared this medical technology freely. The Empire rewarded you with some star coins, which you donated entirely to the Red Cross. Our commander said, Since you're ordering here, we won't charge you anything. After speaking, she took an apple from the nearby food cart and handed it to the old professor. Your meal will take a little while. Please eat this apple to hold you over. Also, sitting on the ground might be uncomfortable, so we've arranged a chair and a warm towel for you. You can sit here and rest while waiting for your meal. Professor Jiang took the apple, his expression a bit distant, and tears unexpectedly appeared in his eyes. Everyone around, including students and teachers from both colleges, was surprised. They hadn't expected this quiet, unassuming old professor to have such a story. They had thought he was just a doctor responsible for the health of students and staff. Even many students and teachers at Tianyao Academy didn't know about this part of his past. Thank you. Thank you, Professor Jiang kept saying, smiling as he bit into the apple. It's so sweet. This scene made many of the students and teachers, who had been quietly criticizing the commander earlier, feel a mix of emotions. Such a story about this old professor, and I didn't know, Zhao Wanner said, surprised, as she watched the professor resting comfortably in a chair, carefully arranged by the crew. Teacher Qin sighed and said, I've heard about Professor Zhang's story. That medical patent was actually quite valuable. It could reduce the death rate of wounded soldiers on the battlefield by 20%, and it was more cost-effective than most medical drugs at the time. At that time, Tianyao Academy wanted Professor Jiang to hold the patent for this technology and to authorize the academy to operate it. This way, they could make a lot of money, build connections, and enhance the reputation of Tianyao Noble Starship Military Academy. However, Professor Jiang insisted on making the technology public. He said, if this were Starship technology, I would give it to the academy, but this is medical technology used to save lives. It shouldn't be used for profit. At least, I wouldn't do that. Although Professor Jiang was rewarded by the Empire at the time, Tianyao Academy secretly blacklisted him. They stopped providing him with laboratories and funding for experiments. The courses he was responsible for gradually stopped for various reasons, and few students and teachers knew about his achievements. Now, Professor Jiang only works as a doctor in the student medical department at Tianyao Academy. Professor Jiang is a talented person. Our Beijing, North Star, also wanted to recruit him. But Professor Jiang is very stubborn. He said he was trained by Tianyao Academy, and no matter how they treat him, he will not leave Tianyao. He is one of the few people I respect in my father's circle. I didn't expect that student Zhao Chun would still know about this past. Hearing Teacher Qin tell this story, everyone was surprised by Zhao Chun's actions. After this old professor, several other professors and mentors received similar treatment. During this time, some students from Tianyao Academy quietly approached students from Beijing Academy, whispering among themselves. Then, some students from Beijing hesitated and went back to the dining area to order food. At this moment, the chef casually said, yes, one more thing. Whoever orders the food must eat it themselves. Sharing with others is not allowed. You can pay for others' meals, but you cannot order for them. If we find out, there will be consequences. The simple phrase consequences made the students from Beijing Academy lower their heads and sit silently in their original spots. Seeing this scene, Su Lan and others guessed the reason. It must be that some students from Tianyao Academy are unwilling to pay 3 times or even 10 times the price, so they want to rely on some students from Beijing Academy who can buy food at the original price to help with shopping. Why? Why am I paying 30 times? I'm just a student of Tianyao Academy, and it's only 3 times the price. At this moment, a student from Tianyao Academy, unable to bear his hunger, placed an order. But when he saw the bill reaching over 1,000 star coins, his face changed drastically. Not only are you a student of Tianyao Academy, but you also said some unpleasant things here just now, the chef said coldly. I didn't say that. Do you have any proof? The young man shouted. The chef raised his hand, and a holographic projection appeared. It replayed the scene from the hangar, with the young man himself as the main character. That man is so rude. How dare he speak so disrespectfully to the son of a count? Uncivilized. The young man's words were played back exactly as he had said them. He was left speechless. Would you still like to order? The chef asked expressionlessly. I don't want these anymore. Just give me a piece of bread, the young man said bitterly. For a bread that normally cost only 5-star coins, he had to pay a staggering 150. At that moment, another student, who had earlier been told by the chef that he should be grateful for being from North Star Academy, suddenly understood. If it weren't for his identity, he wouldn't have been charged 10 times the price. He would have been charged 30 times. Realizing this, he actually felt relieved, even a little happy, that it was only 10 times. Just then, another voice rang out, drawing everyone's attention. Wait, why is ours 100 times the price? Zhou Min, with bandages on his shoulder, and another pale-faced student, looked at their bill in shock. They had each ordered meals worth only 100 star coins, but the total displayed was 10,000. The chef smiled at them. Because for the two of you, that's the price. What did that mean? To put it in perspective, the most popular T1 Wolfmite class medium interstellar destroyer was priced at only 30,000 star coins. That meant a single meal for them was worth 1/3 of a starship. You're outrageous. Zhou Min shouted angrily. I already said, eat if you want, or leave if you don't. If you dare to speak out of turn again, don't just eat. Be thrown out of the starship. Take care of yourself. The chef responded confidently. Zhou Min was furious, but dared not speak. Even if she is 100 times worse, why am I also 100 times? The young man with a fair face deliberately kept his distance from Zhou Min, acting as if he had nothing to do with her. But everyone at Tianyao Academy knew that this man and Zhou Min were close, very close. Jufeng Corporation, Feng Xiaowei. Our commander asked me to pass on a message. If you dare to use a T3 starship to flirt with my sister, believe it or not, I will spend a T3 starship to take your life. The chef said this with a slight smile. But Feng Xiaowei felt that smile carried a hint of mockery. He understood the threat behind the words. If Zhao Chen really put a T3 starship on the black market bounty, many would risk everything to take his life for the price of a T3 starship. Shui Xiaoxiao had just taken a sip of soup and couldn't help but spit it out. To avoid dirtying the food on the table, she quickly turned her head to the side, luckily keeping the food clean. But Zhao Wanner's face was affected. Zhao Wanner looked at Shui Xiaoxiao with a dark expression, trying to hide her smile. Wanner, your brother is so fierce. You dare to use a T3 starship to flirt with my sister, believe it or not, I'll spend a T3 starship to get your life. Ha. Your older brother must be a big fan of his sister. Shui Xiaoxiao laughed heartily. Fierce, huh? I have something even fiercer, Zhao Wanner said, picking up a bread-like food called baguette and walking over to Shui Xiaoxiao, then pushing it into her mouth. Ugh. Too big. Can't fit. Ugh. Don't. Want. Wanna die? Shui Xiaoxiao struggled constantly. Finally, after the baguette was halfway in, Zhao Wanner let her go. At this point, others understood why this pair of men and women were treated like this. Zhou Min and Feng Xiaowei, who had previously had conflicts with Zhao Wanner and her brother at Beiji Star Academy, now saw how much Zhao Chun remembered past grudges. Even if it's 100 times worse, they deserve it. Zhou Min's previous behavior was so bad that several times I was so angry I wanted to hit him directly. Zhao Wanner looked at the two people who had been embarrassed and felt very happy. She quickly ate another bowl of rice. She looked at Shui Xiaoxiao, who was catching her breath, and pointed at the half-eaten baguette in her hand. Want one? It tastes pretty good. No? I don't want it anymore. Shui Xiaoxiao looked at the baguette with fear. From then on, she developed a fear of that food. Later, Zhou Min and the young master from the Hurricane Group had no choice but to reduce their food intake. Even so, they spent nearly 5,000 star coins on it. Soon, the first batch of meals was delivered. Teachers and students who didn't order food watched others enjoy their meals, and some of them were tempted and decided to order food too. In the end, almost everyone ordered food, though the portions varied. Some people paid a high price, but only received the same amount of food as others who paid just a few dozen star coins. They could only silently accept their loss. Meanwhile, the students and teachers from the Northern Star Academy, who got better deals, didn't feel guilty at all. They only spent less than 100 star coins but enjoyed food that others would need thousands of star coins to eat. And their food was even more plentiful. This sense of superiority made them think even more highly of Zhao Chun. Because of this, the teacher leading the Tianyao Academy team also asked Teacher Qin to talk to Zhao Chun, hoping he could at least give the same treatment to students from the Northern Star Academy. Teacher Qin said that this was Zhao Chen's spaceship, and how he set the rules was his own business. She, as a teacher, had no right to interfere. Actually, during this interstellar mission between the two academies, Teacher Qin had long been unhappy with Tianyao Academy. Before any trouble, their team leader was arrogant. After the trouble, she looked helpless, carrying the whole situation herself. Now that they had been embarrassed, Teacher Qin felt quite happy. Is this my food? Professor Jiang was delivered his meal, which also included a mini dining table. It had 3 dishes, 1 soup, some meat and vegetables, a fruit for after the meal, and some simple personal hygiene items and clean clothes. Although the food wasn't as good as what Zhao Wanner and her group had, ordering these dishes normally would cost at least 100 star coins. Yes, please enjoy your meal, the crew member said after serving the food, and then stepped back. Professor Jiang ate the food, and, without realizing it, his eyes started to water. Because he was banned from Tianyao Academy, his salary was very low. He mostly ate artificial food and only occasionally enjoyed simple natural ingredients like fruits and fresh meat. Since that incident, he hadn't eaten real fruit or natural meat again. He never expected that, in this situation, he would get to eat such food. Among those enjoying the meal, some still harbored resentment toward Zhao Chun. For example, Zhou Min and Xiao Weifeng. That guy dares to treat us like this. Xiao Weifeng looked at the meal that cost him 5,000 star coins and felt angry. Zhou Min was hurriedly eating her food, almost finishing more than half. Xiao Weifeng quickly said, "Hey, I paid for this. Don't eat it all, Xiao Wei, I'm really starving. Maybe you could buy a little more." Zhou Min looked at him. "Buy more? At 100 times the price? Do you think I'm a fool? If you want more, go buy it yourself." Xiao Weifeng snatched the remaining food and wouldn't let Zhou Min touch it. Zhou Min could only watch sadly. The small amount she ate earlier didn't satisfy her. It made her feel even hungrier. Xiao Weifeng ate the expensive food, thinking to himself, "I won't forget this grudge." No one dares to cheat young Master Feng. Meanwhile, in the Starship's restaurant, Zhao Chun was looking at the video screen with a mischievous smile. The scene was from the hangar, and his account kept receiving payments. 150 star coins, 5,000 star coins, 3,000 star coins, 500 star coins. Don't underestimate these small amounts. Zhao Chun had rescued nearly 200 students, and just from their meal orders, he had earned an astonishing 40 to 50,000 star coins. This profit was even better than selling weapons. Of course, such opportunities weren't common, only in this special situation. Zhao Chun does not want to make a wasted trip this time. After returning, he will have to pay for repairs to the starship and purchase military supplies. However, this income is enough to repair the T-3 Snowstorm-class light interstellar battleship several times. Next, I just need to send these big spenders back, Zhao Chun muttered. His smile disappeared at this moment. Although the people were saved, the chain reaction from this operation was quite significant, and he wasn't sure what other problems awaited him. After enjoying the food, Zhao Wanner left the hangar with Su Lan and others. Originally, Teacher Qin refused, but when she heard they were going to take a shower, she sniffed herself and, after a dry heave, decided to leave the hangar with Zhao Wanner. Watching Zhao Wanner and her group leave, the students and teachers present were no longer surprised. This was the commander's sister. After all, being here was like being at home. Such a beautiful and spacious starship, Teacher Qin said, her eyes bright as she looked at the corridor. She had seen the interior designs of other T-3 interstellar battleships, which often sacrificed comfort to improve combat performance. But this starship was completely different. The crew quarters in the dorm area are all 4-person rooms with their own bathrooms. Teacher Qin was amazed as she was led into the dorm area by Zhao Wanner, observing the layout. She couldn't help but marvel at the luxury of this starship's design. If these spaces were used to store weapons and ammunition, who knew how much could be stored? This is the starship's bathhouse. I've placed your clothes here, and over there is the shower. You can take a bath here, and there are automatic massage chairs and sunbathing areas, a crew member explained to Zhao Wanner and her group. This is much better than the T2 Queen Bee, Zhao Wanner said happily. Behind her, including Chu Xian and others, everyone was stunned. Sulan pinched Shui Xiaoxiao's cheek. Sister Sulan, why did you pinch me? Shui Xiaoxiao covered her face, looking upset. Sulan explained, I just wanted to see if I was imagining things. Is this really a starship? Or is it a luxury interstellar cruise ship? Shui Xiaoxiao stomped her foot in frustration. Then you should pinch your own face. I didn't expect the treatment on Zhao Qinxing's ship to be so good. I even want to join the military on his starship, Chu Xian said with a mix of laughter and tears. Later, a group of beautiful women began to enjoy their favorite moment. They hadn't showered for 3 days, and with the smell of insect juice on their bodies, they didn't care when their lives were in danger before. But now that they realized it, they all felt goosebumps and discomfort all over their bodies. They washed for over an hour, finally managing to hide the bad smell completely. Zhao Wan'er suggested they could rest in a temporary dormitory, but Qin Laoshi and Su Lan refused. Xue Xiaoxiao felt a little disappointed, while Chu Xian was indifferent. So, everyone returned to the hangar. When the students and teachers from both colleges saw Zhao Wan'er and the others looking fresh and clean, they must have been very jealous. Just by seeing how refreshed they looked, it was clear where they had been. Especially the women from both colleges. They were extremely jealous. They also wanted to take a shower. As soon as they entered the hangar, Zhao Wan'er frowned slightly. She hadn't noticed it before, but now she smelled an indescribable odor in the hangar. She finally understood why her older brother said she smelled bad earlier. Because the smell was really terrible. But since Qin Laoshi and Su Lan still wanted to stay in the hangar, she could only endure the smell and wait there. At this moment, the T-3 Blizzard-class light interstellar battleship welcomed the Imperial fleet. After Zhao Chen's ship reached a safe zone, he announced that he had rescued the students and teachers from both colleges. The Imperial fleet quickly sent ships to pick them up. It was clear that sending ships to rescue people in the area controlled by the interstellar bugs was very slow, with many excuses and delays. But now that they came to pick people up, the efficiency was very fast. After discussing with the other side's commander, Zhao Chun decided to first go to a starport in the safe zone of the Lianxing star system. They would transfer the students and teachers from the ship there. Then another starship would take them to a starport in the neighboring Lantian star system along with the T-3 Blizzard. Zhao Qin didn't refuse this plan. He was eager for these people to leave his starship as soon as possible. And if they travel through interstellar border space with them, they will need to be provided with sleep pods. There are enough sleep pods available. Besides individual sleep pods, there are also group sleep pods to accommodate more people. But just thinking about putting these people into group sleep pods, Zhao Chun feels very uncomfortable. The smell on them. His group sleep pod is considered broken. Alternatively, they could be asked to wash up and change into new clothes, like Zhao Wan'er and others. That would be too troublesome, so this plan is the best choice. On the way to the Water Lotus Star System spaceport, news of the rescue quickly spread. A commander from Beiji Star Academy saved the students and teachers. Was it just one blue and white T-3 starship of unknown model? At this moment, everyone's attention was focused on the student commander Zhao Chun and that T-3 starship. They even paid more attention to him than to the rescued students and teachers. Blue Star Domain Governor's Office, Zhao Chun, T-3 starship. The governor of Blue Star Domain asked seriously upon hearing this information. Are you sure that was the only starship when he entered? Yes, it was indeed that starship, and we also have intelligence from Beiji Star Academy. When they set out, he definitely brought only that starship, the subordinate reported. The governor of Blue Star Domain narrowed his eyes. Relying on just one T-3 starship to rescue people from such a dangerous area. Could it just be luck? The subordinate tentatively asked. Luck? The governor snorted coldly. Only fools think it's just luck. I am certain that many forces in the Star Glory Empire are now watching Zhao Chun. And look at this data. A T-2 Black Rhinoceros-class starship that can single-handedly challenge a T-2 Purple Rose-class medium starship battleship, combining 3 old starships into one, reaching a speed of 100 stars per hour. This kid is definitely extraordinary. It's even very likely that he or some organization or research lab behind him has developed this T-3 starship. After the students and teachers disembarked, I want someone to carefully investigate every detail of how Zhao Chun rescued them. I need to know everything. Then, after he arrives in the Lantian star system, he plans to take control. Do you understand? Yes. The subordinate nods and goes to carry out the order. Such things also happen among the leaders of many other groups. Zhao Chun's influence even surpasses the recent insect disaster in the Shui Lian star system. On the way to the Shui Lian star system spaceport, Zhao Chun had to use the regular engine because of a malfunction in the warp drive. It took 5 days to reach the spaceport. The hangar door opens, and the teachers and students from the two academies see the staff waiting outside in the spaceport, and they look like they are seeing family members. The staff see many teachers and students crying as they run out, thinking they are overwhelmed with relief after surviving a big danger. But in reality, they are just worried about their expenses. During these 5 days, many of them couldn't help but buy a few meals, so of course they are worried about money. Zhao Chun watches the teachers and students leaving his spaceship on the screen with a blank expression. He knows that soon, these teachers and students will be secretly contacted and negotiated with by many people. The entire rescue of the T3 Blizzard will be passed on to the important figures. This includes the battle where the T3 Blizzard destroyed a T3 insect hive mother ship, heavily damaged another, and broke out of the swarm in a glorious fight. A storm centered on Zhao Chun is beginning to form. All the pieces are in place. Now, it's time to see the results, Zhao Chun thinks to himself. Mission details: rescue the trapped students of the Northern Star Fleet Academy and the Tianyao Noble Fleet Academy. Mission difficulty: B-level mission reward. 20 mission points and 6,000 credits bonus mission. Rescue at least 100 teachers and students, including Zhao Wanner, Su Lan, and Shui Xiaoxiao. Rescue progress: 100 out of 100 people. Bonus mission completed. Please claim your reward. Mission completed. Please claim your reward. The notification sound echoed in Zhao Chen's mind. It seemed that as long as he safely delivered the 100 rescued people from both academies to a starport outside the control zone of the interstellar swarm, the mission would be considered complete. In total, Zhao Chun had saved nearly 200 people this time, far more than required. He wondered if the system would give him extra rewards. With a thought, Zhao Chun claimed his rewards. Bonus reward received: T3 Phantom Sting-class light interstellar stealth bomber blueprint. Mission reward received: 20 mission points and 6,000 credits mission points, system credits, and a new starship blueprint. Zhao Chun had gained a lot this time. Opening his data panel, he saw a large number of points, mission credits, and several starship blueprints that he hadn't yet had time to build. Host: Zhao Chun profession: top starship engineer special attributes, fleet luck bonus, Eye of Insight credits, 14,720 mission points, 84 starships, 30 mission, annual mission, incomplete, storage, T3 Phantom Sting-class light interstellar stealth bomber blueprint, T3 Goddess Academy class starship blueprint, T2 Lion King class heavy missile ship blueprint, T2 Snow Mastiff class heavy battleship blueprint, T3 Andromeda class medical ship blueprint. These were all Zhao Chen's accumulated assets. Once the current crisis was over, he could use them to build a powerful interstellar fleet. The interstellar stealth bomber is quite a rare and specialized type of ship, Zhao Chun said with interest. From what he knew, stealth bombers were very popular back in the era when T2 starships were still the main combat vessels. At that time, no one had a star shield. The T3 stealth bomber focused on firepower, so it was usually equipped with medium and short-range interstellar torpedoes. Its range was limited, but its power was incredible. The stealth bomber relied on its cloaking ability to get close and launch a fierce attack on enemy main ships, often with great results. However, after the T3 class ships and Star Shield technology appeared, stealth bombers quickly became unpopular. The reason was simple. With the Star Shield, even a T3 class stealth bomber could no longer deliver a decisive strike against enemy ships. The T3 stealth bomber itself had weak defense. If it couldn't destroy the enemy quickly, it would soon be surrounded and attacked from all sides. Although it could also be equipped with a Star Shield, the T3 level shield could only protect one side. Once deep in enemy territory, danger would come from every direction. In addition, the T3 stealth bomber was extremely expensive to build, making it a poor choice in terms of cost-effectiveness. Over time, it became a rare and little-used type of starship. Zhao Chun, however, was curious to see what this system-produced, unpopular starship could really do. Phantom Stinger-class light stealth bomber. Type: interstellar stealth bomber. Tech level: T3. Hull armor strength: 1,000 to 1,200 units. Star shield energy: 20,000 units. Cruising speed: 300 stellar knots. Warp engine: level 6 warp engine. Length: 490 meters, mass, 120,000 tons, crew, 50, weapons, 10 vertical missile launchers, 10 optical mimic missiles, 20 short-range heavy anti-ship missiles, 20 short-range heavy cluster bombs, 10 torpedo tubes, 200 short-range heavy particle torpedoes, 50 laser closed defense cannons. Special feature: Phantom Stinger stealth mode. Requires 10 seconds to activate. When Zhao Chen saw this, he was stunned. The powerful weapon systems were impressive, but what truly stood out was this. This T-3 class starship was actually equipped with T-4 level star shield technology. It was the first interstellar warship ever to carry a T-4 star shield. What's the difference between T-4 star shield technology and T-3 star shield technology? It's simple. T-3 star shield technology can only protect one side, while T-4 star shield technology can protect the entire starship. Because maintaining T-4 star shield technology requires a very powerful engine and energy system, only T-4 level starship engines and energy systems can currently support it. That's why it's considered a signature technology of T-4 interstellar warships. But now, this technology has appeared on a T-3 stealth bomber. It's like giving an assassin a strong suit of armor. Why did interstellar stealth bombers become unpopular? Because their shields could only defend one side, making them easy targets for enemy ships to surround and destroy. Now, this T-3 Phantom Dagger-class light stealth bomber is equipped with T-4 star shield technology, and its shield energy level even surpasses that of the T-3 Blizzard-class light battle cruiser. What does that mean? Zhao Chen called this ship a heavily armored interstellar stealth bomber. This is the perfect weapon for striking at enemy fleet flagships, Zhao Chen said excitedly. But when he calculated the cost of building such a T-3 Phantom Dagger, his smile faded. This T-3 Phantom Dagger-class light stealth bomber is only half the length of a T-3 Blizzard, yet it costs even more to build. The construction cost of a single ship reaches 15 million star coins. No wonder this type of ship became unpopular. It's just too expensive, Zhao Chen said with a wry smile. Although this starship can turn invisible, that doesn't mean it's invincible. When it attacks, it automatically becomes visible, and some enemy ships are equipped with anti-stealth detection systems. In short, except for certain battlefields, its cost-effectiveness isn't very high. We can build a few, but there's no need to produce them in large numbers, Zhao Chen said, rubbing his chin as he thought. For missions that can't be done openly, this stealth starship would be perfect. Truly, it's a brilliant design. For now, Zhao Chen decided to set aside the matter of the T-3 Phantom-class light interstellar stealth bomber. After all, if the current problem couldn't be solved properly, building any kind of starship would be meaningless. He glanced again at his data panel. He had over 10,000 system points, but since he lacked enough construction resources, he hadn't exchanged them for any starship technology yet. I wonder if that's enough to upgrade the T-4 starship mall, Zhao Chen thought to himself. If he could unlock T-4 level interstellar warships, then once he overcame the current crisis, he could quickly build a fleet strong enough to protect himself. T-3 system mall upgrade requirements. 1. Exchange 3 T-3 level items 0/3. 2. Complete 3B level system missions, February 3rd, 3. Spend 60,000 system points to upgrade the mall, 14, 720/60, 000. Aside from the 2B level missions he had already completed, the other two requirements were still far from being met. The first was because Zhao Chen hadn't found time to exchange for suitable T-3 items. The third was simply overwhelming, 60,000 system points. He had no idea how long it would take to gather that much. It seemed impossible to upgrade to the T-4 system mall anytime soon. As Zhao Chen was deep in thought, his handheld terminal suddenly received a message. It was from an unknown account, but the short line of text made his eyes widen. My granddaughter said you wanted to talk to me? Below the message was a link to a virtual meeting room. Zhao Chen knew that the moment he had been waiting for was finally here. Taking a deep breath, he sat in the chair of his bedroom office. In the next second, the surroundings changed. His bedroom transformed into a simple, old-fashioned meeting room. In front of him was a round table 2 meters in diameter, surrounded by plain walls with no decorations. There were no visible lights, yet the room was bright and clear. The desk in Zhao Chen's cabin aboard the T-3 Blizzard-class light interstellar battle cruiser had a built-in holographic projection system, an advanced communication technology far beyond standard video calls. Zhao Chen sat quietly, waiting for the person who had sent him the invitation to enter the room. 1 minute, 3 minutes, 5 minutes, 10 minutes. Zhao Chen didn't know how much time had passed, but he still sat there in the same position. At last, a figure appeared out of thin air on the chair opposite him. It was an elderly man dressed in traditional clothes, his hair silver white, and his face carrying a kind smile. If Zhao Chen hadn't known who this man was, he would have thought he was just an ordinary old gentleman. Baron of the Xiaolong system, Zhao Chen, greets the governor of the Chuha Star region, His Grace the Duke. Zhao Chen placed his hand on his chest and bowed. The man he was meeting was none other than Chu Xian's grandfather, Governor Chu He, Duke of the Empire, 5-star Marshal, Chu Changhe. Governor Chu looked Zhao Chen up and down, smiling faintly. Impressive, very impressive. I actually admire you quite a bit. But there's one thing you did that I'm not happy about. I was planning to hold you accountable for it. However, my granddaughter guessed what I was thinking. She insisted that she went with you of her own will, and that it wasn't your fault. She even said that if I blamed you, she would argue with me. Ah, that girl. It's true what they say. Once a daughter grows up, she follows her own path. It was my fault for being reckless and taking Miss Chu on an adventure, Zhao Chen said politely, though in his heart he thought, she was the one who insisted on coming. How is that my fault? Still, only a fool would say that out loud in this situation. Let's put that matter aside for now, said Governor Chu. I heard that before you left for the Water Lotus system, you told my granddaughter you wanted to cooperate with the Chu family? That puzzles me. When did I ever say our family wanted to work with you? He looked at Zhao Chen with a calm but questioning expression. Old fox, Zhao Chen thought, still pretending not to know. But who could blame him? The man was the governor of Chuha, a duke of the empire, and a 5-star marshal. Any one of those titles carried immense weight. Zhao Chen smiled. Your Excellency, let's speak frankly. You went through great effort to bring your precious granddaughter back from the Northern Wind system, only to send her again to the Northern Star Military Academy. Why would you do that? You and I both know the reason, so there's no need to pretend otherwise. Since I came here today to speak with you face to face, it's because I came with sincerity. Then show me your sincerity first, Governor Chu said kindly, his eyes calm as he waited for Zhao Chen's next words. Zhao Chen stared at the man before him. He knew he couldn't outsmart the old governor, so he decided to speak directly. Governor, I know you've always cared deeply for Miss Chu because your only son and daughter-in-law lost their lives in the war against the Meccans. But it wasn't just them. Your father and your 2 brothers also died under the fire of the Meccan starships. Am I right? Zhao Chen said. At that moment, even though they were in a virtual holographic space, Zhao Chen could feel the air around him turn cold. I don't like people bringing up my family in front of me. You have 3 minutes to speak, young man. You'd better say something that interests me, or the Chu family has many ways to deal with those we don't wish to work with, the governor said, narrowing his eyes. Zhao Chen shivered, feeling as if he had fallen into an icy pit. This was even more terrifying than when he had faced 3 T-3 Hive motherships and a massive swarm fleet during the T-3 Blizzard campaign. Keeping his expression calm, Zhao Chen continued, the Chu River Star region was named by your grandfather when your family was granted the territory. And your family has a rule. As long as a member of the Chu family lives, no Meccan starship shall cross the Chu River. Your father named you Chu Changhe. Clearly, that name carries the same meaning. The governor said nothing, closing his eyes instead. Zhao Chen went on, but I know that all these years, you haven't just wanted to defend the Chu River Star region, the border of the Starshine Empire. You've also wanted to avenge the Chu family members, and your son and daughter-in-law, who died in the war against the Meccans. Unfortunately, the Empire's only 2 T-4 class starships cannot be mass-produced. For example, the T-4 North Wind God heavy battleship is extremely expensive to build, requiring several rare materials. That's why it can't be produced in large numbers. Because of this, the Starshine Empire can defend itself, but it struggles to strike back. Your time is almost up, the governor said. Zhao Chen replied calmly, but what if I could design and build a T-4 class starship that can be mass-produced? with excellent performance and low cost? Governor Chu opened his eyes, and at that moment, his gaze was sharp and intense, as if he could swallow Zhao Chen whole. You must take responsibility for your words, Governor Chu said, staring at Zhao Chen with a completely different expression than before. I always keep my word, but I'll need some time, Zhao Chen replied. Governor Chu's face softened into a friendly smile. I can arrange the best laboratory in the Chu River Star region for you, with the finest research resources. Any assistant you need within the Starshine Empire, I can find for you. I can even try to bring in professors from the Galactic Alliance. That won't be necessary. I'm used to working alone. Besides, I have a strange temper. I don't like doing research in lifeless labs. If I really had to work in your lab, I might never produce the starship technology you want, Zhao Chen said with a smile and a wave of his hand. You truly don't want to come? Governor Chu asked, watching him closely. Zhao Chen shrugged. Does it really matter where I work? As long as you get the results you want, that's what counts. And honestly, if I did go to your place, I might end up causing you a lot of trouble. Governor Chu thought for a moment, then said, How long will it take for you to produce the high-performance, mass-producible T-4 interstellar battleship you mentioned? 10 years. Zhao Chen began, but Governor Chu interrupted him. 10 years is too long. Impossible, he said firmly. 5 years. Zhao Chen countered. Governor Chu raised 3 fingers. 3 years. In 3 years, I want a complete set of technical blueprints and a feasibility report for the T-4 interstellar battleship. As for construction, I'll handle that entirely. Don't worry, I won't take advantage of you. The technology will still belong to you. If your design is as cost-effective as you claim, I'll pay you a licensing fee equal to 50 times the cost of building each ship. I guarantee this as governor of the Chu River Star region. A licensing fee worth 50 times the cost of a single ship. Normally, the profit margin for AT-1 Starship is between 5 and 10 times its cost, for AT-2, around 20 times, and for AT-3, about 40 times. As for the T-4 Starship, since it has never been mass-produced or sold publicly, both its cost and price remain confidential. The authorization fee being 50 times higher actually worked out in Old Chu's favor. But since he would handle the manufacturing himself, Zhao Chen would save both cost and construction time. It was hard to say who gained more from the deal. But how can I believe that you really have the ability to develop a highly cost-effective T-4 interstellar battleship? Governor Chu suddenly changed his tone, staring intently at Zhao Chen. Zhao Chen smiled and said, Then I can first present you with a highly cost-effective T-3 interstellar destroyer. My research on the T-4 battleship will also be based on this T-3 destroyer as an experimental model. Right now, the average cost of a T-3 interstellar destroyer on the market is about 7 million star coins, and the selling price is between 200 million and 300 million, Governor Chu said casually. My T-3 destroyer not only ranks among the top 3 in combat power among known T-3 models, but its cost is under 5 million star coins, Zhao Chen replied with a smile. Governor Chu narrowed his eyes at him. Tell me, since you're offering something this good, what do you want from me? I don't expect anything special. I see this as a normal business deal. Besides, I'm also a citizen of the Starshine Empire. As an Imperial Baron, it's my duty to think of the Empire's interests. The mechanoids are our enemies, and we must defeat them. I'm willing to dedicate my efforts for the Empire's future. Of course, I also hope not to be disturbed by others. After all, you understand the saying, a man with treasure invites trouble, Zhao Chen said helplessly. When can you give me the technical blueprints for that T-3 destroyer? And don't worry, I won't take your design without paying. If it's truly as good as you say, my Chu family will pay you 30 times the production cost as a technology licensing fee for each ship we build, Governor Chu said. I can encrypt and send the full design to you within a day, Zhao Chen replied directly. Governor Chu was surprised by how straightforward the young man was. He really dared to hand over the T-3 ship technology so easily. Most people would have found that painful to do. Very well, I'll be waiting. As for whether we'll move forward with the cooperation, I'll give you a detailed answer within 5 days, Governor Chu said, then ended the holographic meeting before Zhao Chen could respond. Zhao Chen also logged out. Sitting back in his office chair, he realized his entire back was soaked with sweat. Talking with a sector governor, an imperial duke, and a 5-star marshal is honestly more exhausting than fighting a whole war against the Zerg. Good thing I made preparations earlier and set everything up. Otherwise, that stubborn old man would have dragged me back no matter the cost. Zhao Chun let out a long sigh. As for what he meant by everything, it referred to his performance during the recent rescue mission. For now, the only people I can rely on are the Chu family. But I can't let them turn me into a caged bird. As long as I stay outside, I still have a chance to rise again. First, I'll use the T4 starship to lure that old man in, then gain his trust with the T3 starship technology. But the authorization fee alone costs 30 times more than building a single ship. The Duke really is loaded. Zhao Chun couldn't help but feel tempted. Maybe a long-term partnership wouldn't be such a bad idea. But nothing's certain yet. Who knows what that old fox will decide to do with me in the end? Let's just exchange for the T3 starship he wants first, Zhao Chun said as he opened the system interface. He had already prepared the T3 starship model meant for the Chu family. Spend 7,000 system points and 10 mission points to exchange for the T3 Flame Dragon class medium interstellar destroyer blueprint. Congratulations! You have obtained the T3 Flame Dragon class medium interstellar destroyer blueprint. Remaining system points, 7720. Remaining mission points, 64. Zhao Chun then began editing the technical data for the T3 Flame Dragon. Since all the information existed only in his mind, he had to manually compile a version before sending it to Governor Chu. Flame Dragon class medium interstellar destroyer type, interstellar destroyer technology level, T3 hull armor strength, 1200 to 1400 units star shield energy, 10,000 units cruising speed, 160 stellar knots warp engine, level 6 warp engine length, 899 meters mass, 230,000 tons crew, 100 people armament, 1,000 millimeters quadruple medium magnetic rail main guns, 8 medium rapid-fire electronic secondary guns, 32 medium pulse laser secondary guns, and 96 medium close defense guns. Although the T3 Flame Dragon class medium interstellar destroyer isn't as impressive as the T3 Blizzard class light battle cruiser or the T3 Phantom Sting class light stealth bomber, it stands out for its balance. Indeed, balance is its defining feature. It performs well in speed, combat power, and armor strength. Among the destroyers of the Galactic Alliance, it could confidently claim second place. No one would dare claim first. Most importantly, its cost is only 5 million star coins. That's about 30% cheaper than other T3 destroyers on the market. With this warship, Zhao Chun was confident he could win Governor Chu's trust. Of course, when editing the Starship system software, Zhao Chun secretly added a hidden backdoor. Once it receives a specific signal, any ship built using Zhao Chun's technology would immediately shut down or even self-destruct. When working with others, one must always stay cautious. There are no eternal enemies and no eternal friends. As a top starship engineer, Zhao Chun was certain that no one in the entire Galactic Alliance could discover this backdoor within 50 years. As for what happens after 50 years, he couldn't care less. Old Chu, if you really want to work with me, we can both get what we need. If I manage to create a highly cost-effective T4 destroyer, I might even help you win this 1,000-year war against the Mech clan. But if you think I'm someone you can push around, then no one will have an easy time. Zhao Chun's expression turned cold. Chuastar Region Governor's residence, Governor Chu slowly walked out of his office into a courtyard that looked like a beautiful garden. Following behind him was a short, elderly man who looked a few years younger. Master, do you really believe that young man has the ability to develop a T4 interstellar battleship? The old man asked. During the earlier conversation, besides Zhao Chun and Governor Chu, this old man also knew everything that was said. He was the person Governor Chu trusted most, apart from his granddaughter, an old comrade who would risk his life for him. Old Ding, you know me well. I've had only 2 wishes in my life. One is to see Xin'er grow up happily, get married, and have children. The other is to destroy the Machine Clan, to end the 1,000-year war that has taken the lives of my son, daughter-in-law, and so many members of the Chu family. I want to crush their mechanical capital and use my flagship to shatter those cold machines. That young man was right. With only the 2 T4 interstellar battleships we have, we can defend, but not strike back. Those two models can't be mass-produced. Over the years, I've built several Starship research labs in the Chua Star region and invested countless resources. And for what? To develop a T-4 interstellar battleship that can be produced on a large scale, one that can lead our fleet to take the fight back to the Machine Clan. Governor Chu looked up at the starry sky. Old Ding, I don't have much time left. I'm willing to take a gamble on that young man. If I win, I can die without regret. We could just capture him and use pressure or persuasion to make him cooperate. If that doesn't work, we can try charm and kindness. They say even heroes can't resist temptation. I'll find him someone from any star civilization, no matter how unusual, until he agrees. Old Ding said fiercely. I used to think that way too, Governor Chu replied, but we can't do that now. That young man's performance during the recent rescue mission, using the T-3 Blizzard-class light battle cruiser, has drawn the attention of the entire Xingyao Empire. If we take him by force, no matter how powerful the Chu family is, could we really stand against the whole empire? At the same time, his words just now carried a warning. If we dared to confine him, he would turn against us. To speak to me like that, this young man's temper actually suits my taste, the governor chuckled. Governor Chu raised his hand and brought up all the information about the recent incident, along with a holographic image of the T-3 Blizzard starship. Old Ding, you've seen all the data about him. What do you think of this young man? Old Ding thought for a moment, then pointed to a section of the report. During this rescue mission, he single-handedly saved teachers and students from both academies, all top students, too. Normally, this would be a great chance to build connections with them, right? After all, he saved their lives. But what did he do? He started selling meals on the starship, charging 3, 10, 30, even 100 times the normal price. Didn't that offend a lot of people, just for a few thousand star coins? That seems pretty foolish. But judging from his past behavior at North Star Academy, he really is someone who acts directly and a bit recklessly. It actually fits the eccentric nature of starship engineers. Considering all this, he doesn't seem to pose much of a threat to us. But these events have made him enemies with several groups, including Tianyao Academy. This young man has made his own path narrower. Governor Chu laughed loudly. I actually think this whole thing might be a show he's putting on. Old Ding froze, then thought carefully about Chu's words. He frowned and shook his head repeatedly. Impossible. There's no way that boy could be that calculating. Forget it. Chu Xian seems to get along well with him. Since he has such skills, let's wait and see what he can really do before making a decision. I just hope he doesn't disappoint me. Governor Chu and Old Ding continued chatting in the courtyard. A few hours later, an encrypted file arrived in the governor's inbox. Chu glanced at Old Ding, then opened the file right in front of him without hesitation. It's the complete set of technical blueprints. No parts held back, Chu said, surprised after a quick look. After careful study, both of their expressions grew serious. Governor Chu said sternly, Old Ding, contact all the Starship engineers and scientists from the 1st, 2nd, and 4th Starship Research Institutes of Chu River immediately. I want a detailed report on this Starship technology as soon as possible. Yes, sir. Old Ding understood how important this was. He muttered the name of the starship under his breath. T-3 Flame Dragon. Could that young man really have the ability to develop a T-4 interstellar battleship? Quarterly mission. Own 3 different models of T-3, class or higher starships, 1/3. Choose 1 support-type starship and expand it to 5 units, 0/5. As April arrived, Zhao Chun received a new quarterly mission. He glanced at the mission details. The first condition was easy to complete. As for the second one, he could simply expand the T-2 Iron Hammer to 5 ships later. After all, future fleet expansion would require many industrial starships. A video call came in. It was Teacher Qin. Zhao Chun, after discussing with the teachers from both academies and the Imperial military officers who rescued us, we've decided to depart for the Lantian system tomorrow. Your starship will also receive repairs at the Lantian system spaceport. Do you have any concerns? Teacher Qin asked. Zhao Chun smiled. No problem. Just let me know when it's time to leave. Good. Then we'll set the departure for tomorrow. Zhao Chun, we truly appreciate what you did this time. Although we didn't have time to properly thank you when we left your ship, I plan to request the Academy to hold a celebration for you once we return to North Star Academy. Teacher Qin said warmly. Zhao Chen quickly waved his hand. There's no need for a celebration. Expecting gratitude from the students? More than half of them were probably still upset with him. During their stay on his ship, every one of them had spent all their pocket money. After ending the call with Teacher Qin, Zhao Chen informed Charlotte and Lilith to prepare for departure the next day. The damaged hull of the T3 Blizzard had been partly repaired, but some parts couldn't be fixed in the Water Lotus system. To complete the repairs, they would have to return to North Star Academy or head to the Lantian system. However, all ammunition had already been fully replenished. The parts that couldn't be repaired for now didn't affect the Blizzard's normal navigation or combat performance. Lantian system. I wonder what's waiting for me there, Zhao Chun said with a faint, self-mocking smile. A grand show was about to begin, and he was destined to be the main character. Lantian system. A starport that day, the starport was unusually busy. Several docking bays had been cleared, and many Imperial fleet ships were waiting nearby. In the waiting area closest to those docks, a crowd had gathered, standing in anticipation. Finally, several starships appeared in the distance. Everyone's eyes immediately focused on a blue and white interstellar battle cruiser, the legendary ship that had charged alone into the Water Lotus system, which had been overrun by the insectoid swarm and rescued the teachers and students of both academies. The ship still bore visible marks of fierce battles. From the survivors' accounts, people had learned what had happened in that fight. A single starship had destroyed one T3 Hive ship, heavily damaged another, and escaped from the swarm fleet alive. It was nothing short of a legend. And because of that, Zhao Chen himself had become a legendary figure. T3 Blizzard, class light battle cruiser. Bridge Zhao Chen sat in the captain's chair, with Charlotte and Lilith working on either side of him. His younger sister Zhao Wanner and Miss Chu Xian of the Chu family were also on the bridge. Su Lan and the others were aboard a nearby Imperial warship with Professor Qin. As for the teachers and students from the two academies, none of them dared to ride on Zhao Chen's ship, not even if their lives depended on it. Brother, look. So many people. And there's even an honor guard. Looks like they're going to treat you like a hero, Zhao Wanner said excitedly as the ship prepared to dock, noticing the crowd gathered below. Zhao Chen gave a wry smile. Those people probably saw him not as a hero, but as a prize waiting to be carved up, and a very tempting one at that. This time, Zhao Chen, you've really made quite a name for yourself. Chu Xian stood nearby, feeling happy for Zhao Chen. Zhao Chen only smiled without saying anything. Soon, the T3 Blizzard finished docking. At that moment, a video call request appeared. On the screen was a middle-aged man. Student Zhao Chen, I am the governor of the Azure Star region. During the recent insect swarm disaster in our Blue Sky sector, you risked your life to save the teachers and students of both academies. I truly admire your courage. I've prepared a celebration banquet in your honor, and I hope you won't refuse. Even the governor himself had appeared. It seemed Zhao Chen's actions had drawn quite a bit of attention. Whether he wanted to disembark or not was no longer up to him. Governor, you flatter me. I only did what any citizen of the Starshine Empire should do. There's really no need for a celebration, Zhao Chen said with a polite smile. Don't say that. You've done something remarkable. A small banquet is the least we can do. There will even be families of the rescued teachers and students who wish to thank you personally, the governor said warmly. In that case, I'll accept your invitation. Zhao Chen agreed to leave the ship. Then we'll be waiting to welcome our young hero, the governor said with a smile before ending the call. Looks like you've made quite a stir this time. Young hero, Chu Xian teased. But she quickly noticed that Zhao Chen's expression had turned very serious. Wanner, stay on the ship. Without my permission, you are not allowed to leave, Zhao Chen said firmly. Why? I just want to go see what's happening, Zhao Wanner asked, confused by his order. Do as I say, Zhao Chen replied in a tone that left no room for argument. Zhao Wanner looked at her brother. It was the first time she had seen him so serious. In the end, she nodded. All right, I'll stay on the ship. Miss Chu, I need to ask you for a favor. You must also stay aboard. While I'm away, if anyone tries to board the T3 Blizzard for any reason, I hope you'll use your authority as the eldest daughter of the Chu family to stop them, Zhao Chen said, turning to Chu Xian. Although Chu Xian didn't understand why Zhao Chen was making such arrangements, she nodded earnestly. I still owe you from what happened in the Arctic Fox system. Don't worry, I'll do exactly as you ask. Zhao Chen looked at Charlotte and Lilith beside him, but said nothing. He turned around and walked out of the bridge. Charlotte and Lilith's eyes were filled with worry. Before the voyage, Commander Zhao Chun had already spoken with them and given them an order. Once they entered the starport, the T3 Blizzard must stay on full alert. No crew member was allowed to leave their post. If they received his command, they were to act immediately. This made them feel that something serious was about to happen. In the Blizzard's departure corridor, Zhao Chun saw groups of people ahead, as well as students and teachers from the Imperial Academy disembarking from nearby warships. Many of them looked at Zhao Chun with sharp, eager eyes, as if he were a treasure. Zhao Chun smiled, waved to them, and walked forward slowly. But in his heart, he had already made a decision. If you really push me, I'll take the Xiaolong fleet and leave the Starshine Empire. Although it would be hard to give up the Xiaolong system, one day I'll return, and when I do, I'll reclaim everything, no matter the cost. That would be the worst outcome, but Zhao Chun was not afraid. Zhao Chun stepped out of the T3 Blizzard-class light interstellar cruiser's berth and entered the starport corridor. Instantly, colorful lights burst in the air above him. They weren't real fireworks, just light effects, but they looked completely real. Around him, Imperial soldiers stood straight with weapons in hand. At an officer's command, they all turned toward Zhao Chun and placed their right fists over their hearts. They formed a path for him to walk through. Several young women, already waiting with flowers, came forward to greet him. One of them even gave him a quick kiss on the cheek and slipped a small note into his pocket. Zhao Chun blinked. Was this what being teased felt like? Should he report it, or just pretend nothing happened? Student Zhao Chun, you looked impressive in the communication videos, but seeing you in person, truly remarkable. No wonder you're the young hero of this rescue mission, said the governor of the Azure Star region warmly, stepping forward to shake Zhao Chun's hand. Governor, you flatter me, Zhao Chun replied with a polite smile. Zhao Chun held the flowers in his left hand and spoke humbly. The governor of the Azure Star region before him looked much wealthier and more relaxed, completely different from Governor Chu's commanding presence. Normally, since you just returned from the Water Lotus system, Zhao Chun, I should let you rest first, the governor said kindly. But I've specially prepared a banquet to welcome you. I'm afraid you'll have to endure a little more for now. Everyone is eager to see the young hero in person. Zhao Chun smiled. Then I'll gladly accept your hospitality. Let's see what kind of surprises you've prepared for me, he thought. Compared to Zhao Chun's grand welcome after leaving the ship, the teachers and students from the two academies received a much quieter reception. Don't you think Zhao Chun has changed a lot since we first met him half a year ago? Shui Xiaoxiao said, standing on tiptoe to get a better view of the ceremony. Even in front of a star region governor, his presence doesn't seem any weaker. He has changed a lot, senior sister Su Lan replied, frowning slightly. But something feels strange. What's strange about it? Shui Xiaoxiao asked, puzzled. Zhao Chun saved everyone from both academies. Even though what happened afterward was a bit confusing, the fact remains, he's our hero. It's only right that he's treated this way. You're not wrong, Su Lan said, but didn't you notice? There isn't a single reporter here. Normally, a young hero like him would attract huge attention. The media across the empire would never miss such a big story. But look around. There's not even one person recording or taking pictures. Hearing that, Shui Xiaoxiao looked again carefully. Indeed, there wasn't a single reporter present. That was very unusual. For an event that had shaken both major academies of the Starshine Empire, this silence was strange. Even the recent crisis with the insect swarm in the Water Lotus system had reporters swarming everywhere, chasing every bit of news to post online. Right now, the Zerg crisis in the Water Lotus galaxy is one of the hottest topics across the entire Starshine Empire network. Among them, the story of Zhao Chun, the genius student who single-handedly saved teachers and students from both academies, has become a major headline. Sister Su Lan, when you put it that way, it really does seem strange, Shui Xiaoxiao murmured. Senior Su Lan raised her hand and opened a virtual screen, searching for news about Zhao Chun. To her surprise, his name had completely disappeared from the trending topics list of the Starshine Empire network. The only related information was that the teachers and students from both academies had already left the Water Lotus galaxy under the of the Imperial fleet. Something's wrong. Zhao Chun might be in serious trouble, Su Lan said with a grave expression. Serious trouble? Shui Xiaoxiao tilted her head, looking puzzled. Sulan stared at Zhao Chen's back as he walked away with the governor of the Azure Star region. Her voice carried a hint of worry. I should have realized it earlier. Although Zhao Chun saved us this time, he revealed too many secrets about himself. What's the story behind that incredibly powerful T3 Blizzard-class battleship? Before this, we had never even heard of such a model. People will definitely start investigating him in detail. Once they do, they'll uncover his earlier achievements at our academy. A T2 Black Rhino heavy ship, and he even built a starship capable of reaching 100 stellar knots. Each of these feats alone would attract attention, but when they all belong to one person, he becomes the target of every major power in the galaxy. Even so, would they really want to harm Zhao Chen? He's the hero who saved everyone. Shui Xiaoxiao said innocently. Sulan shook her head. A hero? When people need you, you're a hero. But when they care more about your secrets than your deeds, you become prey for those who want to use you. The current control over online discussions is meant to reduce Zhao Chen's public influence. No matter what happens later, the impact will be minimized. Those who have set their sights on Zhao Chen have already begun to move. Those people? Who could they be? Shui Xiaoxiao asked, her voice now filled with worry. This is the Azure Star region, and even the governor himself has shown up. How could he miss such a good opportunity? Senior Sulan bit her lip anxiously and said, I'll go find Teacher Qin. Let's ask Teacher Qin to contact North Star Academy. If the academy steps in, we can make sure Zhao Chun stays safe. While Sulan and Shui Xiaoxiao were worrying about Zhao Chun, many teachers and students from both academies watched from the side. Some looked on with envy at the special treatment Zhao Chun was receiving, while others had mixed and uncertain expressions. Humph, that guy tricked us out of so much money, and now he gets treated like this? Feng Xiaowei said angrily as he looked at Zhao Chun. A man walked up to Feng Xiaowei and slapped him on the head. How many times have I told you? Don't show your emotions so easily. Keep your thoughts to yourself. With your luck, it's a wonder you didn't get lost in the swarm. You're an embarrassment to our Hurricane Consortium. Faced with the man's scolding, Feng Xiaowei, the young master of the Hurricane Consortium, didn't dare to get angry. Instead, he forced a silly smile and said, Got it, brother. I'll be careful next time. The man Feng Xiaowei called brother was the eldest son of the Hurricane Consortium, Feng Dawei. Come on, Feng Dawei said calmly. I'll take you to see something interesting. Something interesting? What do you mean? Feng Xiaowei asked curiously. Feng Dawei looked at Zhao Chun and the governor walking away in the distance. That kid Zhao Chun is hiding a lot of secrets, especially about that T3 Blizzard model. Don't forget, our Hurricane Consortium has close ties with the governor of the Azure Star region. Our father has already spoken with the governor. No matter what, they'll make sure that boy reveals something valuable. But he's really popular right now. If we go after him, won't that cause trouble? Feng Xiaowei said worriedly. Feng Dawei gave a cold laugh. He's just a baron. And this is the Azure Star region. What happens to him depends entirely on the governor and our consortium. Hearing that, Feng Xiaowei's eyes lit up with glee. Brother, let's go. I want to see that guy get what's coming to him. At the very center of the starport stood a dome-shaped restaurant. This dome restaurant was the most luxurious one in the Lantian system, said to have been built by the Lord of Lantian himself to host important guests and nobles. The entire dome was made of completely transparent glass, the same material used for military starships. Its strength was equal to that of a starship's armor plating. Normally, such glass was only used in small amounts, such as on the bridge windows or small observation ports of a ship. Although it was as strong as armor, its cost was dozens of times higher, so most starships used it sparingly. Here, however, the entire restaurant was built from this military-grade glass, showing just how extravagant it was. From its position at the top center of the largest starport in the Lantian system, one could see the entire port below and the main star of the system above, a breathtaking view. At this moment, the banquet hall was already fully prepared. Luxurious dishes made from rare natural ingredients filled the tables. But the moment Zhao Chen stepped inside, he sensed something was wrong. Only a few teachers and students from both academies were present, and most of them were from Tianyao Academy, people who didn't get along with him. Every gaze directed at Zhao Chun carried a hint of mockery. It was clear this was a trap banquet prepared just for him. Student Zhao Chun, this way please, the Azure governor said with a polite smile, leading Zhao Chun to a crescent-shaped booth in the center of the hall. The seat was higher than the others, furnished with soft sofas and attended by elegant maids. Two people were already waiting there. One wore a formal suit, the other a military uniform. Zhao Chun glanced at the uniform, 5 stars. An imperial 5-star marshal. He couldn't help but wonder what kind of luck he had lately. First a star domain governor, now a 5-star marshal appearing before him. When the two men saw Zhao Chun, they both stood up and greeted him with smiles. But to Zhao Chun, those smiles looked more like beasts baring their fangs. The marshal's smile, in particular, seemed especially stiff. "Student Zhao Chun, let me introduce you," said the Azure governor. "This is Imperial 5-star Marshal Huang Zhixiong. He's one of the youngest marshals in our empire. At just 50 years old, he became a 5-star marshal of the empire. Like you, Zhao Chun, he was also a young hero," the Azure governor said as he introduced the marshal. Zhao Chun looked at the man in uniform, whose belly stretched against his clothes. If no one had told him, Zhao Chun would have thought the marshal and the governor were brothers. Before coming here, Zhao Chun had done his homework. The Azure governor and Marshal Huang Zhixiong were from the same faction, one a regional lord, the other a military leader. The two worked closely together, and their partnership was quite strong. However, Marshal Huang was the kind of person who looked powerful but wasn't very capable. His position came mostly from his family's influence and connections. Although he commanded several Legion-level space fleets, his main duty was to guard the Azure Star region. Over the past 50 years, he hadn't fought in any major battles, mostly small missions like catching space pirates. Just look at how the insect disaster in the Water Lotus system turned into such a mess, and you could tell what kind of ability this marshal had. Compared to Governor Chu, who had been fighting the mechanical race on the front lines for years, Huang Zhixiong was on a completely different level. The marshal didn't offer his hand, only nodded slightly at Zhao Chun, clearly not thinking much of the young man. "This is Chairman Feng Weihao of the Hurricane Consortium," the Azure governor continued, introducing a middle-aged man wearing gold-rimmed glasses. "Zhao Chun, I've heard so much about you," Chairman Feng said warmly, shaking Zhao Chun's hand and patting his shoulder. "You're the same age as my younger son, but he's nowhere near as capable as you. If my son were even half as talented as you, I wouldn't have to worry so much. During the insect crisis, it was thanks to you that my son came back safely. Otherwise, my family would have suffered a terrible loss." As he spoke, Chairman Feng removed his glasses, as if wiping away tears. "You flatter me, Chairman Feng," Zhao Chun replied politely. But in his heart, he made a note of the man. Compared to the so-called 5-star marshal, this chairman of the Hurricane Consortium seemed far more dangerous. And in this age of advanced technology, hardly anyone needed glasses anymore. The fact that this man still wore gold-rimmed ones meant it was either a habit or a way to hide his true thoughts behind his eyes. Anyone capable of building the Hurricane Consortium is definitely not an ordinary person. The consortium was founded in the Azure Star region. Rumor has it that the Hurricane Consortium, the governor of Azure, and the 5-star marshal form a powerful alliance. These three people are like the rulers of the Azure Star region, controlling the military, government, and business worlds. This time, all three appeared together, showing how much they valued Zhao Chun. "Please, have a seat, Zhao Chun," said the governor of Azure, guiding him to the sofa. A senior maid immediately served delicious tea and snacks. Just then, one of the elevators leading from the starport to the Dome restaurant opened, and several figures stepped out. A familiar voice caught Zhao Chun's attention. "Seriously, they wouldn't let us come up. Why can they come here, but we can't?" The one complaining was Xue Xiaoxiao. Beside her were Senior Su Lan, who looked serious, and Teacher Qin, who seemed nervous. They had actually made it up here. Senior Su Lan, Teacher Qin, Zhao Chun waved to them. Su Lan and the others saw him and quickly walked over. Smiling, Zhao Chun turned to the governor of Azure. "I'm sorry, these three are my friends from the academy. May I invite them to join us?" The governor exchanged a glance with the two other leaders. Since it's Zhao Chun's request, how could we refuse? Besides, sitting with a few lovely young ladies is certainly more pleasant than being with us old men. "Zhao Chun, you're quite fortunate." The governor chuckled, teasing him. Zhao Chun only smiled in response. Soon, Su Lan and the others reached the table. When Su Lan saw the three people sitting before Zhao Chun, Her eyes showed surprise. She clearly recognized who they were. Zhao Chun. The people downstairs were really unreasonable, Shui Xiaoxiao said, pouting. They wouldn't let us come up. I saw plenty of students from Tianyao Academy go up, but they told us we didn't have an invitation. If Teacher Qin hadn't shown our North Star Academy credentials, we'd still be stuck down there. It was hard to tell whether she was being innocent or deliberately saying this in front of the three powerful figures. Zhao Chen thought to himself, this is clearly a trap set for me. Of course, they wouldn't let outsiders join. If Teacher Qin hadn't insisted, you probably wouldn't have had the chance to see what's coming next. But since we're already here, let's witness the show together. After the so-called welcome and celebration banquet began, Governor Bailan and Chairman Feng chatted casually with Zhao Chun, but their conversation was mostly about unimportant topics. Marshal Huang Zhixiong, however, didn't speak to Zhao Chun. His eyes kept wandering among the female guests, spending most of the time glancing at Su Lan and the two girls beside Zhao Chun. Several guests came over to toast Zhao Chun, but he politely declined, saying that as a student, he shouldn't drink alcohol, and instead raised his cup of tea in return. Before long, after several rounds of tea, Governor Bailan smiled at Teacher Qin. Teacher Qin, we have some private matters to discuss with Zhao Chun. Could you please take the two young ladies to another room for a while? Teacher Qin looked uneasy. She was confident when teaching or commanding a starship, but in this kind of social situation, she felt completely out of her depth. Governor, Teacher Qin and these two are my close friends, Zhao Chun said, leaning back on the sofa. Whatever you have to say, you can say it in front of them. Teacher Qin froze slightly, her eyes showing a hint of panic. She had spent years focused on teaching and research, just like her father, the dean, and had rarely interacted closely with men. Su Lan, on the other hand, remained calm, quietly sipping her juice without saying a word. Beside her, Shui Xiaoxiao pouted unhappily. Why is he only paying attention to Su Lan and Teacher Qin? Am I not as good as they are? She glanced at them, then looked down at herself and sighed, feeling even more upset. She grabbed a bottle of papaya drink from the table, rumored to have some special benefits, and took several big gulps. Don't worry, Xiao, she told herself. You're still young. You'll grow up soon enough. Oh, I didn't expect Zhao Chun to prefer mature, elegant women, someone said with a teasing smile. Coincidentally, I have a niece in her 30s. If student Zhao Chun is interested, I can introduce them, said Governor Bailan openly. So this is a beauty trap, right from the start? If student Zhao Chun isn't interested in humans, our Hurricane Consortium has recently acquired a group of female attendants from other interstellar civilizations. We can offer one as a gift, said Chairman Feng with a smile. Ah, now they're trying the sweet-talking approach. Young people should have great ambitions, to travel the vast universe and explore the endless stars. Don't get distracted by trivial pleasures. I thank both of you in advance, Zhao Chun said, looking very proper, though he still kept his arms around Teacher Qin and Su Lan. Shui Xiaoxiao rolled her eyes beside him. Teacher Qin's cheeks turned slightly red. What did that mean? She didn't quite understand, but something about it felt strange. Su Lan glanced sideways at Zhao Chun while sipping her juice, saying nothing. Good. Very good. Young people should indeed have such ambition. Governor Bailan clapped his hands in approval. He smiled at Zhao Chun. Since your close friends here are not outsiders, let's speak frankly. We are very interested in your outstanding starship design and research skills, especially your T3 Blizzard and T2 Black Rhino models. Chairman Feng would like to cooperate with you, and I'm here as the middleman. If you agree, you'll receive 30% of the profits. Chairman Feng added, we're also willing to provide you with the best starship research facilities and resources, completely free of charge, to support your future projects. And if you have a team behind you, we're ready to offer salaries 3 times higher than what the Starshine Empire pays. These old foxes are really cunning. 30%? What a joke. Governor Chu offered a technology licensing fee worth 30 times the cost of a T3 starship. On the market, the selling price would be about 40 to 50 times the cost. That's basically a 70-30 split. Zhao Chun gets 70, Governor Chu gets 30. Compared to that, these two old foxes really lack vision. Starship technology, huh? It seems there's been a misunderstanding. Those starships aren't ones I built myself. I crash-landed on a planet during an interstellar journey. Just when I thought I was going to die, I happened to come across a powerful person's starship construction base. That person said we were destined to meet and gave me those starships, Zhao Chun said with an innocent look, as if every word he spoke was true. An interstellar accident? A mysterious benefactor? Gave you starships just because you met by chance? Shui Xiaoxiao accidentally spat out her papaya milk, covering her face with it. What kind of old-fashioned web novel story is this? She muttered, quickly wiping her face with tissues, trying hard not to laugh. Student Zhao Chun, Governor Byland said with a polite smile that carried a hint of coldness. Could you tell me where this great person's starship base is? I'd like to visit. He clearly didn't believe a word Zhao Chun said. I'm afraid that's not possible, Zhao Chun replied. That person told me recently that they were taking their fleet to travel across the stars, so they can't be found for now. What a pity. Zhao Chun, you really like to joke, Governor Byland said, narrowing his eyes. We've looked into your background. Before you went to study at North Star Academy, you never left the Xiaolong system. How could you have met such a person? Besides, the T3 Blizzard and T2 Black Rhino starships you own don't exist in any other known interstellar power. Could this mysterious person really be so secretive that not even traces of their ships remain? Zhao Chun looked innocent. But I'm telling the truth. Marshal Huang Zhixiong crushed his wine glass in his hand, the liquid dripping to the floor. His face darkened. Don't test our patience, boy. The Hurricane Consortium is willing to work with you. That's your good fortune. Otherwise, forget 30% of the profits. You wouldn't even get 10. If you cooperate honestly, the three of us can guarantee you wealth and status. We could even arrange a prosperous star system for you in the Byland sector, so you won't have to stay in that desolate Xiaolong system. Zhao Chen's smile didn't fade. As the saying goes, a child never dislikes their mother, and a dog never abandons its home. Even if the Xiaolong galaxy is barren, it is still the legacy left by my Zhao family ancestors. I'd rather stay on my own small piece of land and live freely as a carefree lord. As for wealth and power, those things are not meant for me, Zhao Chen said. At that moment, the atmosphere among the group began to turn tense. Old Huang, how can you speak like that? Zhao Chun is younger and may not have thought everything through. Of course, he needs time to consider things carefully, the Azure governor said kindly, looking at Zhao Chun. Zhao Chun, do you think what we're offering isn't enough? How about this? Since I feel a connection with you, I'm willing to take you as my adopted son. I'll give you the 20% profit that was originally mine. The Starship technology will be managed by the Hurricane Consortium, and Chairman Feng will give you 50% of the profits. I can also guarantee that within 5 years, you'll be promoted to Viscount, and within 20 years, to Earl. Be your son? I wouldn't agree to that even if you begged me. Zhao Chen finally understood. They were just playing good cop and bad cop, trying to pressure him into submission. Whether he would actually receive that so-called 50% profit was not up to him at all. Compared to these cunning people, Zhao Chun trusted Governor Chu more. From what he knew, Governor Chu was a man of integrity, honest, loyal, and intolerant of corruption. Under his rule, the Chu River Star region was far safer than others, and there had never been reports of nobles causing trouble. Governor, I think I'll pass on this offer. I've been at this banquet long enough, and I'm feeling a bit tired, so I'll take my leave, Zhao Chun said, preparing to stand up. But just then, a ring of light screens rose around the semicircular booth, and 4 men who looked like bodyguards blocked his way. Zhao Chun, are you really going to refuse me like this? The Azure governor narrowed his eyes, his smile now carrying a cold edge. So it had come to this. Zhao Chun smiled, leaned slightly toward the governor, and in a voice loud enough for everyone in the booth to hear, said with a calm smile, "If I say no, what can you do about it?" Zhao Chen's words were like pouring oil on a fire. Governor Byland's eyes turned cold as he looked at Zhao Chun. At that moment, Marshal Huang Zhixiong spoke up. What can we do? As the Imperial Army's marshal, I suspect your starship technology is connected to the Mech clan. You will be detained and questioned. I hope you'll cooperate, Zhao Chun, or things might get unpleasant. Zhao Chun smiled. These people had decided that if persuasion didn't work, they'd use force, completely ignoring that Su Lan and the others were present. Their behavior was truly disgraceful. Judging by the expressions of the guests around them, they probably couldn't hear what was being said inside. The light screen didn't block outside sounds, but it did prevent voices from inside from being heard. Nonsense. How could Zhao Chen have anything to do with the Mech clan? He's a hero who saved the teachers and students of both academies. You have no proof. Stop making false accusations. Shui Xiao, always straightforward, stood up to defend Zhao Chen. Her reaction surprised Zhao Chen a little. He hadn't expected this brave girl who loved big cannons to speak up for him. The words of an imperial marshal aren't proof enough. Are you questioning the authority of a 5-star marshal of the empire? If he's truly innocent, I'll release him after the questioning, Huang Zhixiong said proudly. Zhao Chen chuckled inwardly. If he went with them, even if he was innocent, they'd probably find a way to make him look guilty. Teacher Qin stood up, her expression serious. Sirs, Zhao Chen is a student of North Star Academy. You can't treat our student like this. I can see what's really going on. You're after his starship technology. No matter where his technology came from. According to imperial law, any starship technology developed by an individual, group, or research institute is protected as private property. Even the imperial family has no right to demand it by force. That would be illegal. Aren't you worried I'll spread word of this and ruin your reputations? Governor Bylan smiled faintly and shook his head. Since I dared to say this in front of you, do you really think we're worried about that? I know who you are, the daughter of the North Star Academy's headmaster. But don't forget, this is the Azure Star domain, not your Northern Wind domain. Here, I make the rules. Today, Zhao Chen must stay. The three of you may leave as you wish. I don't care what you say outside. The Azure governor's confidence showed that he and the power behind him didn't care about consequences. As long as Zhao Chen was on their territory, they were sure they could control this young baron. Teacher Qin's face darkened. She hadn't expected them to be so shameless. Zhao Chen looked at her. She was still too naive. The empire's rules only restricted the lower and middle classes. For those at the top, those rules were just tools. When enough profit was at stake, they would ignore the rules completely. And Zhao Chen himself was now the great prize that made them forget all restraint. That T3 Blizzard-class light interstellar battle cruiser. They would get it no matter what. The Northern Star Academy couldn't stop them. What if I say Zhao Chen belongs to the Su family? Su Lan, who had been silent, finally spoke. The Azure governor stared at her and smiled. I know who you are, the illegitimate daughter of the main Su family from the Violet Star domain. Let's not talk about whether your words carry any weight. Even if the Su family really wants to protect Zhao Chen, don't forget what I just said. The governor's eyes turned cold as he slammed the table. This is my Azure Star domain, not your Su family's Violet Star domain. Your Su family has no authority here. Su Lan's expression grew complicated. She knew this outcome well. The Su family and the Azure governor had a terrible relationship. Since he dared to act this way, he clearly wasn't afraid of the Su family's anger. Even if they wanted to cause trouble, would they really send troops? The royal family would never allow it. Now that Zhao Chen was in his hands, the governor held all the power. Shui Xiao finally sensed that something was wrong. She looked at Zhao Chen with worry. The governor didn't even care about Su Lan's Su family or Teacher Qin's Northern Star Academy. Was Zhao Chen really going to be detained here? If that happened, he would be walking straight into danger. He might survive, but not without great suffering. Governor Bylan, Marshal Huang Zhixiong, Chairman Feng. I wonder if you've ever heard this old saying, 30 years east of the river, 30 years west of the river. Never look down on a young man who's struggling. Zhao Chen looked playfully at the three powerful men before him. At that moment, many guests at the banquet noticed the strange atmosphere around the central booth. When the light screen rose and 4 bodyguards in black stood outside, staring at Zhao Chen, everyone could sense that something unusual was happening. Most of the guests at this Hongmen banquet were closely connected to the 3 influential figures, so it wasn't hard to guess what was going on. See that? That kid Zhao Chen is now like a bird trapped in a cage. There's no way he can escape, said Feng Dawei, holding his glass and watching the booth from a distance. Feng Xiaowei felt delighted, though he regretted not being able to hear Zhao Chen's humble tone or see his defeated expression in person. Humph, wasn't he acting all high and mighty before? He even extorted us on the starship. Just thinking about those few days when we spent tens of thousands of star coins on his so-called fine meals still makes me angry. So, what will they do with him in the end? Are they really going to work with him? Feng Xiaowei asked. Are you that foolish? Working with him is just a way to get all the starship technology out of him. Once they've taken everything useful, he'll quietly disappear for some reasonable reason. After all, he's only a baron. How could he possibly fight against us? For our father and those two leaders, getting rid of him would be as easy as saying a word, Feng Dawei said calmly. Feng Xiaowei grinned wickedly. Then, big brother, when the time comes, can I be the one to deal with him? Feng Dawei glanced at his brother, easily guessing his thoughts. All right, I'll see what I can do to let you handle it. Thanks, brother, Feng Xiaowei said with a grin, already imagining how he would make Zhao Chen suffer. T3 Blizzard-class light interstellar battle cruiser. Bridge, how strange. Why didn't my brother let me go with him? Zhao Wanner sat in the captain's chair, puzzled. Charlotte and Lilith exchanged a glance. The flowers who had grown up in the academy had yet to truly experience how dangerous the world could be. At that moment, someone entered the bridge with a serious expression. Just now, 5 groups requested permission to board, 3 from the Azure Star domain and 2 from the Imperial Army. I turned them all away, Chu Xian said as she walked up to Zhao Wanner, Charlotte, and Lilith. Why do they want to board? Zhao Wanner asked in confusion. Chu Xian looked seriously at Charlotte and Lilith. Do you two know what's about to happen? Did Zhao Chen give you any special instructions? I also noticed that your starship has been on first-level combat readiness this whole time. Indeed, all the female crew members on the bridge were at their stations, ready for action. The ship's engines were idling at minimum power, ready to go full throttle at any moment. Hearing Chu Xian's words, Zhao Wanner turned to Charlotte and Lilith. Lilith said, the commander told us that if you kept asking, we could tell you. This rescue mission for the Academy's teachers and students is actually very dangerous for him. The T3 Blizzard is a new type of T3 interstellar battleship that has never appeared before. In battles against the Zerg, it showed incredible power. Many people will want it, but the commander is only a baron, like a shining treasure with no protection. Zhao Wanner jumped down from the captain's chair, her face tense. You mean the Azure governor wants to harm my brother? Lilith nodded. Zhao Wanner's face turned pale. She patted her head, realizing too late what was happening. If her brother hadn't come to rescue her, he might never have revealed the blizzard, and none of this danger would exist. She bit her lip and grabbed Charlotte's hand nervously. Charlotte, my brother will be fine, right? Charlotte looked at her and nodded. He'll be fine. Chu Xian quickly added, I'll contact my grandfather right away. Ever since she had helped her grandfather get in touch with Zhao Chen, she hadn't known what the two of them had discussed. Now, she hurried to ask her grandfather for help. Her grandfather was one of the few who was dismissive of her and told her that he was very busy lately. He said she shouldn't bother him unless necessary and only needed to follow Zhao Chen. Unexpectedly, at this so-called celebration banquet, the blue governor dared to directly detain someone. This was simply shameless to an extreme. At this moment, she still couldn't contact her grandfather, which was very rare. What's wrong with this old man? Pick up the phone quickly. When I called him before, he answered within 3 seconds. Chu Xian was pacing anxiously on the bridge. I want to find my brother. Zhao Wanner was about to leave the ship. But Lilith stopped her. Staying on the starship now is the best help you can give your brother. You saw his ability. He remained unharmed even under attack from many bugs. A small starport can't stop him if he wants to leave. Hearing this, Zhao Wanner stopped, but still looked worried. She had never been so eager before to see that face she used to dislike. At the central booth in the Dome restaurant, hearing Zhao Chen's words, Huang Zhixiong showed a mocking expression. Do you think you have a chance with Heshi? Since things had already reached the point of breaking the ice, the 3 big bosses no longer needed to play house with this young man. Since Zhao Chen is unwilling to cooperate, we can only ask him to cooperate with our investigation for now. Someone, take Zhao Chen to the villa we've prepared for him to rest properly. The blue governor ordered his bodyguards directly. Zhao Chen also looked expressionless now. Since the situation had been torn open, there was nothing more to say. The reason he came down from the T3 Blizzard earlier was to divert attention away from it. Otherwise, if he stayed on the T3 Blizzard, it would become the target of everyone. As for these bodyguards, could they withstand those bugs? He could easily hijack these big shots and find countless ways to leave this terrible place with the T3 Blizzard. But that would be the worst situation Zhao Chen wanted to face. Suddenly, a blinding beam of light shone across the entire Dome restaurant, dazzling everyone so much they couldn't open their eyes. When the light faded, everyone looked outside. A fleet of over 300 starships suddenly appeared outside the spaceport, led by a T-4 North Wind God-class heavy starship. These ships also bore a shiny gold character, Chu. And it wasn't just this one T-4 North Wind God. At least 3 ships could be seen at a glance. Why is the Chu family fleet here? Governor Blue suddenly looked very worried. At this moment, the main gun and all secondary guns on the T-4 North Wind God were aimed directly at the Dome restaurant. Then, a hologram appeared inside the Dome restaurant. The person in the hologram was dressed in an imperial military uniform, with a coat draped over his shoulders. His shoulder epaulets had 5 shining gold stars. Although he looked quite old, just the hologram gave off a commanding and powerful presence. Blue Fatty, Yellow Mouse. Where is my granddaughter's husband Zhao Chun? I'm here to pick him up. This projection was not only shown inside the Dome restaurant, but appeared in most important locations throughout the spaceport. Even on public channels, this message would pop up, and you could click to see it. Right now, many starships docked at the port also displayed this link. When clicked, you could see Governor Chu's message. On the bridge of the T-3 Blizzard-class light starship cruiser, Officer Lilith scanned the data link with the ship's system, confirmed there were no issues, and then displayed it on the bridge. When Chu Xian saw the old man in military uniform, still imposing, she was surprised and asked, "My grandpa? Why is he here?" Next to her, Zhao Wan'er, Charlotte, and Lilith all looked at Chu Xian with curiosity. "Chu Xian, did I hear right just now? Governor Chu called my brother Zhao Chun. Son-in-law, your Chu family only has this one granddaughter, right?" Zhao Wan'er looked suspiciously at Chu Xian, as if she had seen a little thief. When they left the Lotus Water Galaxy, Zhao Wan'er and Chu Xian had stayed in the hangar together, and they got along well during those days. But she never expected that Chu Xian would become her future sister-in-law. Wait. There must be some misunderstanding. There is definitely a mistake. Chu Xian's cheeks flushed with embarrassment as she hurriedly explained. She kept trying to contact her grandfather, but all her messages were rejected. This made Chu Xian very anxious, pacing nervously. What does that old man want to do? Charlotte and Lilith exchanged glances silently, feeling much more relaxed. What does the commander have to do with any woman? They were only a bit surprised, nothing more. Now, the relationship mentioned by Governor Chu became a kind of shield for the commander. Students and teachers who didn't attend the Dome restaurant banquet saw a large video projection and heard the white-haired old man in the footage speak. Who is this person? Why does he look so familiar? Are you stupid? Have you forgotten the portraits hanging in our school corridor? One of them is him. Governor Chu He, Duke of the Empire, Marshal of 5 stars. That's Chu Changhe from the Chu family. Did he just say Zhao Chun is his son-in-law? When did Zhao Chun become connected to the Chu family and marry into it? Wow, son-in-law of the Chu family. Zhao Chun has really risen in the world. The students and teachers looked like they had just heard a big piece of gossip. Wait, who was that blue guy? The yellow rat calling out too. A student from Tianyao Academy spoke up, but was immediately silenced by a stern look from the teacher beside him. Another kinder teacher whispered, "Think about it. What are the surnames of 2 of the 3 big figures in the Blue Star Domain? The governor of Blue Star Domain, Marshal Huang Zhixiong?" Thinking of these, many students covered their mouths. Only Governor Chu dared to call those names. If it were them, they might have spoken out and caused trouble. But now, they were even more curious. What exactly was happening? Why was Governor Chu so openly coming to pick up his son-in-law and bringing his fleet? Don't underestimate those 300 interstellar warships. Apart from a few T-4 North Wind God-class heavy starships, all the others were T-3 level. This fleet could definitely be called the elite force of the Chu family. With this level of display, they could easily challenge a regular fleet of the Empire starships. The guests at the banquet looked surprised and confused. They hadn't expected such a sudden change. Feng Dawei frowned and said, "Zhao Chun is actually Governor Chu's son-in-law." That old man dared to bring his star fleet straight into the Blue Star region. He continued, "What's going on with the Stargate? Why was there no warning?" Feng Xiaowei whispered nearby, "Brother, does that mean we can't do anything to Zhao Chun now?" Feng Dawei looked at his younger brother as if he were a fool. Even now, he was still thinking about getting back at Zhao Chun. He hadn't considered how big the fuss would be once this news spread. The 3 big figures in the Blue Star region only dared to secretly target Zhao Chun. But Governor Chu openly declared that Zhao Chun was his son-in-law. This was completely unpredictable. The way things develop next will go beyond their original plans. Zhao Chun, sitting at a central booth in the restaurant, was momentarily stunned but quickly returned to normal. Inside, he was shocked. What the heck? This old man made such a big show and claimed Zhao Chun was his son-in-law on purpose. He was trying to tie himself to the Chu family's chariot. Sending his most elite star fleet over was a sign of respect for Zhao Chun. This old man actually wanted to take advantage of him, like a proud grandfather? Zhao Chun initially thought Governor Chu would only step in to protect him, but he didn't expect this kind of move. At the same time, Qin Laoshe, Su Lan, and Xue Xiaoxiao nearby looked at Zhao Chun in surprise. Governor Chu's words, calling Zhao Chun and his son-in-law, were clear and loud, and they heard every word. They never imagined Zhao Chun would have such a connection to the Chu family. Just then, the Blue Star Governor's terminal flashed red, an incoming communication request. He opened it and saw it was Governor Chu. There was also a note attached. If you dare not answer, believe it or not, I'll lead my fleet to your home star system and up your base. That old man hadn't changed at all. The Blue Star Governor looked helplessly at the two other leaders beside him. Marshal Huang Zhixiong and Chairman Feng, who once looked very confident, now both have uncertain and complicated expressions. Governor Bailan sees no one speaking, so he accepts the communication request and quietly stands up. When the video window appears, Marshal Huang Zhixiong and Chairman Feng also stand up, showing professional smiles. At this moment, the other video windows outside turn black and become silent, leaving the onlookers confused. Governor Chu personally came to the Blue Star domain. Why didn't you tell us in advance? I wanted to prepare a banquet to welcome you. Governor Bailan begins with formal words. Notify in advance. So you could hide my grandson-in-law? Blue Fatty, Yellow Mouse. I sent multiple communication requests to my grandson-in-law, but no one answered. I heard you took him away for a celebration. Where is he? Governor Chu immediately adopts a commanding tone, full of anger. This is because the restaurant's booth canopy can block sound transmission and prevent unauthorized signals from entering. Besides their three leaders' communication signals, Zhao Chun and others are naturally in the no-answer state. Cough, cough. How could we hide Zhao Chun? Look, Zhao Chun is right here, safe and sound. Governor Bailan smiles and shifts the video to Zhao Chun's location. Seeing Zhao Chun appear, Governor Chu's expression softens into kindness. Little Zhao, are you okay? Did these old guys bully you? If they dare to bully you, tell Grandpa. I'll get mad for you. If they dare to harm my precious grandson-in-law, I'll destroy their den. Not just to save the teachers and students of the two academies. I risked my life to venture into the insect swarm and rescue the future blossoms of the Empire's talented people. Now, the Blue Sky Governor and others actually suspect me? It's so disappointing. Seeing Zhao Chun look so wronged, Xiao Xiao and the others were surprised. They hadn't realized before how good this kid was at acting. The Blue Sky Governor's face stiffened when he saw Zhao Chun directly complain. Before he could explain, Governor Chu got angry. He pointed at the Blue Sky Governor and shouted, Fatty Blue, how dare you call my son-in-law a traitor from the mechanical clan? Are you trying to shame our Chu family? Everyone in the Starry Empire knows that our Chu family has a fierce rivalry with the mechanical clan. The ancestral hall of our Chu family is filled with memorial tablets of those who died fighting the mechanical clan. You, Fatty Blue, go marry into the mechanical clan, and our Chu family would never associate with them. Seeing Governor Chu get angry was expected by everyone. The deep hatred between the Chu family and the mechanical clan is well known across the Starry Empire. So, the royal family of the Starry Empire was confident that the Chu family was growing stronger in the Chu River Star Domain, even funding the development of T4-level starships. On the other side of the Chu River Star Domain was the mechanical clan, which served as a counterbalance to the Duke. The stronger the Chu River Star Domain, the safer the Starry Empire. Now, the Blue Sky Governor and others claimed that Zhao Chun, the son-in-law of the Chu family, was colluding with the mechanical clan. That was like insulting the Chu family. Governor Chu, there's a misunderstanding. Please listen to our explanation. Marshal Huang Zhixiong stepped forward to speak. Governor Chu looked at him with disdain. Explain? I don't need your explanations. I know exactly what you old guys are hiding in your stomachs. And you, Huang rat, don't think that just because you've gone from a skinny rat to a fat rat, you can talk to me. You're not qualified. And don't wear that military uniform in front of me. You don't deserve it. Just thinking about you wearing the same clothes as me makes me uncomfortable. I want to kick you a few times. Back then, you were planted in my fleet to earn military merits. I should have sent you to the front lines fighting the mechanical clan. That punishment would have been a mercy for you. One bite at a time, like a mouse. Zhao Chun could see the anger in Marshal Huang Zhixiong's eyes, but he dared not show any emotion himself. This clearly shows the difference between two five-star marshals. Governor Chu's words later confirmed an old rumor. When Huang Zhixiong was young, he was assigned to Marshal Chu Chang's fleet. Serving on the frontier was the easiest way to earn military merit. Unfortunately, Huang Zhixiong's family forgot Marshal Chu's personality. After several mistakes, and even breaking military rules by drinking and seeking women on starships during missions, Marshal Chu directly confronted Huang Zhixiong. At that time, he almost ordered to execute him. But if it weren't for Huang Zhixiong's older sister, who is now the emperor's consort, pleading for him, the emperor would have let Marshal Chu carry out the execution, citing an old favor owed to him. Now, there is no longer a Marshal Huang Zhixiong. But as the saying goes, a death sentence can be avoided, but a life sentence cannot. Marshal Chu personally used ancient military rules, wielding a baton, and beat Huang Zhixiong 100 times. Huang Zhixiong was beaten nearly to death, and before his family arrived to take him away, he was not given medical treatment, only enough to keep him breathing. When his family finally came to pick him up, Huang Zhixiong looked like a dead mouse. If modern medical technology hadn't been so advanced, he wouldn't have survived. Since then, Huang Zhixiong has not dared to step into the Chu He star system again, nor to meet Marshal Chu. This was their first meeting in years. Hearing Marshal Chu bring up the past, Huang Zhixiong clenched his fists, his eyes filled with shame and fear. Finally, he quietly stepped back several paces, out of the range of Governor Chu's video window. Chairman Feng, standing nearby, saw this and cursed silently. A useless person is always a useless person. He was useless before, and even with a new disguise, he's still just a show-off. Governor Chu, please calm down. The issues between you and Marshal Huang are just old stories. Let's not bring them up again. Regarding student Zhao Chun, I have just investigated. It was a mistake made by our staff. I will now order strict punishment for those responsible. How dare you falsely accuse Lord Governor Chu's son-in-law? You've really gone too far, said Governor Bailan with a forced smile. Now I want to take my son-in-law away. Will you try to stop me? Governor Chu stared at him. Governor Bailan smiled and said, Student Zhao Chun is a young hero who saved the teachers and students of both academies. Naturally, he can come and go freely. No one can stop student Zhao in the Blue Star domain. Anyone who dares to bully him is opposing me in the Blue Star domain. This old man has a thick skin and the ability to tell lies without blushing, even better than himself. Zhao Chun secretly applauded in his heart. I know what you're thinking. But let me tell you, Zhao Chun is my son-in-law, Chu Chang's granddaughter. If you dare to hurt Zhao Chun, you're hurting me, Chu Changha. Know your own strength. If you're not convinced, bring out your fleet, and let's have a fair fight. I, old Chu, will fight to the end. After speaking, Governor Chu looked kindly at Zhao Chun and said, Son-in-law, since there's nothing more, let's leave this chaotic place, okay? Zhao Chun stood up, just as he was about to say goodbye to the three cunning old men. A deputy appeared beside Governor Chu in the video window and whispered a few words. Almost at the same time, Governor Bailan received a communication request from his subordinate. On the communication screen, the subordinate hurriedly reported, Report, Princess's personal guard fleet has arrived, requesting to see Baron Zhao Chun of the Xianglong star system immediately. Everyone inside the booth looked at Zhao Chun with surprise. The Empire only has one princess, and she is the most important treasure of His Majesty, even more than the crown prince and other princes. Zhao Chun is not only the son-in-law of Governor Chu, but also related to the Empire's young princess. Shui Xiao Zhao's eyes sparkled as she looked at Zhao Chun, as if she smelled something big. This. Governor Bailan looked at Zhao Chun and suddenly didn't know how to handle this matter. Isn't this kid just a baron? It was fine when the Beiji Star Academy and the Su family were willing to support him before. Now, not only has the old Governor Chuhi appeared, but even the Imperial Princess's personal guard fleet has shown up. Could this young man be pretending to be weak to hide his strength? Cough, cough. Please inform the Princess's guard fleet that student Zhao Chun is at the Dome restaurant in our starport. Is there anything they need? Governor Blue said. Soon, a reply came back. Let Baron Zhao Chun wait where he is. They will arrive soon. That was indeed quick, because just as they finished speaking, on one side of Governor Chuhi's fleet, a more shiny, interstellar fleet appeared. Let's not talk about their actual fighting power for now. Their paintwork is simply luxurious. They used gold and white colors, with a bronze royal emblem on the ships. This is the symbol of the royal fleet. It shows that even though the royal family members are not here, they are present in spirit. There are a total of 300 starships, but they are not as powerful as Governor Chuhi's fleet. The flagship is a T3 starship, making up 1/3 of the fleet, with the rest being T2 starships. The T3 flagship slowly moved into the starship dock, while the other ships hovered outside the starport, just like Governor Chuhi's fleet. Throughout this process, Governor Chuhi didn't speak at all, just watching like an outsider. Governor Blue smiled and looked at Zhao Chun. It turns out you have a connection with the princess. Why didn't you say so earlier? I don't know how I could be related to the princess, Zhao Chun thought, looking innocent and confused. Because, according to online information, there are almost no images of the young princess protected by the Shine Empire's royal family. Everyone only knows she exists, but no one knows her age, appearance, whether she's fat or thin, beautiful or ugly. Zhao Chun suddenly thought of his sister. He had heard that his sister worked in the princess's personal guard fleet, was highly valued, and might even be a fleet captain. But even if she was a captain, it shouldn't affect the princess, right? After all, a royal fleet at the Legion level has 3,000 captains. Could it be that his sister's actual position in the princess's guard fleet is much higher than they imagined? Zhao Chun couldn't be sure about this because he hadn't sat down to talk with his sister in many years. The last time they met in person was about 3 years ago, and it was only for a few hours. They came quickly and left just as fast. Now, facing the teasing from Governor Blue, Zhao Chun could only smile silently because he wasn't sure what the purpose of the princess's fleet's visit was. While these people speculated about why the princess's fleet had come and what Zhao Chun's role might be, the starport was in chaos. After all, many people saw the royal fleet appear outside the starport. News spread quickly, and soon everyone knew about it. Some curious people even went to the corridor outside the dock where the T3 Royal Starship was moored, watching the parked interstellar battleship. A group of people, including students and teachers from the two academies, stopped to look at the ship. Soon, the hatch of the starship opened, and a team of young female soldiers dressed in shiny, platinum-colored military uniforms stepped down. They were tall, beautiful, and looked like top-tier beauties. In the middle of this team was a female officer holding a crystal badge with the royal emblem of the Starshine Empire. She was escorted by her team as she moved forward. Oh my gosh, that's a reward crystal, one of the teachers from the two academies exclaimed. A reward crystal? That's the legendary crystal the Emperor personally grants for noble titles. The students around were amazed. They looked at the crystal badge with envy. In the Empire, rewards usually come in two forms: material rewards, like money or treasures, and noble titles. Noble titles can be awarded in two ways, either through achievements or through connections. The Empire's official department responsible for personnel management submits a list of promotions to the Emperor. Once the Emperor approves and signs, the people on the list are promoted. For example, a baron might be promoted to a viscount, or a viscount to an earl. This is the usual way of granting noble titles. There is also another type called reward crystal. When someone makes a great achievement, the Emperor will specially draft a reward document and deliver the reward crystal to the person being honored using a special imperial fleet. This honor is much more significant than a regular promotion. Usually, those who receive such recognition are highly valued by the Emperor, meaning their names are already marked by the Emperor, and most of them can expect a bright future. Using the royal fleet to deliver the reward crystal is the most prestigious way. Wait, all of them are female soldiers. dressed in platinum military uniforms. "This is the princess's personal guard fleet," a teacher exclaimed again. This news instantly shocked everyone around. The fact that the royal fleet delivered the reward crystal was already impressive. Now, it turns out to be the princess's personal guard? Who could enjoy such treatment? The female soldiers stepped out of the starship dock and headed straight to the Dome restaurant. Many onlookers watched, but made way quietly. After seeing this team of female soldiers take the elevator to the Dome restaurant, a surprising thought arose among the students and teachers. At such a moment, heading to the Dome restaurant? The only person who could be honored this way was probably one individual. Almost everyone in the two academies thought of the same name. It was him. The elevator quickly arrived at the Dome restaurant, where all the guests had already prepared, because they had also seen the royal fleet earlier. At the same time, the curtain of the central booth had already fallen. Zhao Chun and the others moved to the most prominent spot. The female officer holding the reward crystal looked at Zhao Chun and walked directly toward him. Indeed, it's the reward crystal. Among the crowd, brothers Feng Dawei and Feng Xiaowei showed envy and jealousy. Even Feng Dawei, who usually kept a calm face, looked at the young man with some envy. "Baron Zhao Chun of the Xianglong star system, please step forward to receive your honor." The female officer's light voice echoed throughout the Dome restaurant. Zhao Chun stepped forward, kneeling on one knee according to the etiquette he learned from the academy textbooks. The female officer knelt on one knee, holding a beautiful box containing the reward crystal with both hands. At this moment, a holographic projection emerged from the crystal. It was a middle-aged man sitting on a throne. Seeing this person, everyone present knelt on one knee. Some, unfamiliar with the scene, were so nervous they fell flat on the ground. Zhao Chun slightly raised his head, quietly observing the light and shadow before him. He looked about 70 or 80 years old, but thanks to advanced medical treatments, he didn't seem very old. He appeared more like a middle-aged man, with black hair. He had a high nose and big eyes. Sitting on the throne, he looked like a mighty dragon perched on a mountain peak. Compared to this man, Zhao Chun's impression of someone with a similar presence was only Governor Chu He. But their aura was very different. Governor Chu He had a sharp, aggressive presence, hiding a kind face. When he drew his sword, he was fierce and deadly, like a god of war. This man, standing at the peak of the Starshine Empire, seemed more extraordinary and calm. He exuded natural authority, and his expression reflected the vastness of stars and oceans. Lord of the Xianglong star system, Baron Zhao Chun, bravely ventured into the Zerg's deadly territory, saving 187 students and teachers, an act of heroism. I hereby grant him the title of Imperial Viscount and award 1 million star coins. When the hologram spoke, its voice was loud and deep, like a bell, creating an invisible pressure. It took half a minute after the voice finished before the projection disappeared. At this moment, the female officer stood up and said, "Viscount Zhao, please rise." Zhao Chun stood up. "This is the reward crystal. Please keep it. Here is an imperial card with 1 million star coins, a gift from His Majesty. Additionally, Princess has sent you some small gifts." The female officer first handed the reward crystal to Zhao Chun. Then, behind her, a female soldier brought forward several beautiful trays. Zhao Chun took the reward crystal. It was mostly symbolic, with little practical use, just an honor. But the reward behind it was quite valuable. Although he was only promoted to a noble, it would bring Zhao Chun many advantages. For example, in the fleet of lords. According to the Empire's rules for lord fleets, the size of a lord's private fleet depends on their noble rank. For example, Zhao Chun, who is only a baron, can theoretically own fewer than 30 starships. In reality, many lords often have slightly more than the limit, since the Empire doesn't usually bother to check over a few extra ships. However, if someone has several times the allowed number, and their enemies report it, that could cause big trouble. A Viscount rank allows Zhao Chun to legally own a fleet of up to 100 starships, which helps avoid many problems. Zhao Chun then looked at the crystal bank card with 1 million stars coins. The royal family is quite stingy, only giving 1 million coins. But it's better to have some than none. The princess's gifts are more valuable, like a special Viscount's formal outfit or precious gemstone jewelry. If sold on the market and branded with the royal name, These could be worth 2 or 3 million coins. But Zhao Chen can't do that right now. When the princess personally gives you these items in front of so many people, she's not telling you to sell them. Only a straightforward person would do that. Zhao Chen doesn't think he's that kind of person. Thank you. May I ask, what is your name, sister? Zhao Chen smiled and tried to get closer to the female officer. The female officer replied with a smile, I am Wei Shishir, commander of the 10th Fleet of the Princess's Guard Fleet. Oh, Sister Wei. Sorry for the rudeness. If you have free time, I'd like to invite a few of you sisters to a private dinner, Zhao Chen said. After several rounds of super soldier serum modifications, Zhao Chen is definitely a handsome man, with a strong, masculine look. Most women wouldn't refuse such an invitation. The female soldiers behind Wei Shishir were now glancing at Zhao Chen with interest. That's okay. We are the princess's personal guard, and this departure is already a special situation. After we finish this task, we plan to return. Wei Shishir declined Zhao Chen's offer. Since that's the case, I'm about to leave too. We can go together. I'll see you off, sisters, Zhao Chen said casually, calling them sisters smoothly. Listening nearby, Xiao Xiao Shui rolled her eyes. All right. Then, Wei Shishir looked at Governor Bailan, Governor Huang Zhixiong, and the video window of Governor Chu, who was present. Dear generals, Marshal, I need to return to the princess now. I will take my leave. Go ahead, Governor Chu said with a cheerful smile, looking completely different from his earlier scolding of Governor Bailan and Marshal Huang Zhixiong. First, congratulations to Lord Zhao Chen. No, now you should be called Viscount Zhao Chen. There was some neglect and misunderstanding at the banquet. Next time, I will hold another feast to entertain Lord Zhao Chen, Governor Bailan said happily. Teacher Qin, Sister Sulan, Xiao Xiao, let's go first. And please help me carry these things, Zhao Chen said, looking at the boxes of gifts. He couldn't carry them all by himself. Xiao Xiao Shui happily took the gifts, blinking her big, watery eyes at the beautiful treasures. Goodbye, Governor. Teacher Qin nodded slightly and left. Sister Sulan also bowed and left. People around were still looking at Zhao Chen with envy and jealousy. Although he was only promoted from Baron to Viscount, everyone could see the significance behind it. The Emperor of the Starry Empire personally awarded him, with the princess's fleet escorting and delivering the message, and even a small gift from the princess herself. These actions showed that Zhao Chen was highly regarded by the royal family. Most importantly, everyone knew that the princess's older brother, the crown prince, was the future ruler of the Starry Empire. Zhao Chen was now on a fast track to success. In 3 years, he could become a count. In 10 years, a marquis. It's not just a dream. Just as everyone watched Zhao Chen leave the Dome restaurant, he suddenly stopped, turned around, and walked toward the 3 powerful figures. He stood in front of them, smiling warmly. Gentlemen, I will remember your hospitality today. I will repay it someday. His words carried a clear warning. Although it was bold, Zhao Chen didn't care. After all, he had already torn apart his relationship with these 3. If not for Governor Chu stepping in, they might have already imprisoned him or used other means against him. Don't forget, Zhao Chen has a bad habit. He holds grudges. Watching Zhao Chen and the others walk away, the 3 powerful figures from the Blue Star domain looked at each other in surprise. They never expected such an ending. They thought Zhao Chen was just a small baron, but it turned out he was connected to many powerful groups. These included the Beiji Star Academy, the Su family from the Zissou Star domain, the Chu family from the Chua Star domain, and even a princess from the royal family. And this was just what was obvious. Remember, if Zhao Chen really was Chu Chang'e's son-in-law, then who was the grandfather of that young princess from the Chu family? It was the governor of the Beifeng Star domain. Ugh, I've never felt so humiliated in all these years, Marshal Huang Zhixiong said as he returned to his seat, grabbing a bottle of wine and pouring himself a drink. It was bad enough to be bullied by Chu Chang'e, but now a young person was standing above him. He had even challenged him just now. What can we do? We can ignore the Beiji Star Academy and the Su family from the Zissou Star domain. But we must keep our face for the royal family, especially that crazy dog Chu Chang'e. He dares to do anything. Only His Majesty can control him. No one else can give him respect. The Blue Domain Governor's professional smile suddenly disappeared, and his face darkened. Chairman Feng, standing nearby, said calmly, right now, Zhao Chun is more of a target than before. If we make a move against him, we might cause trouble for ourselves. He has some good starship blueprints, like the T3 Blizzard-class light starship and the T2 Black Rhinoceros-class heavy starship. But that's not enough for us to go all out. For now, let's stay quiet. The Empire's big show is just beginning. Let the bullets fly a little longer. I have some things to handle, so I'll take my leave. After speaking, Chairman Feng left the restaurant. The Blue Domain governor and Huang Zhixiong watched him go. That guy has been making a lot of moves lately. It seems he's planning to go solo, Huang Zhixiong said with a grim face, looking at the Blue Domain governor. The Blue Domain governor sneered and said, "Going solo?" His Hurricane Consortium was built with our support. Without the big starship orders from the Blue Star Domain, could he have developed the popular T2 Hound-class heavy starship? Knowing the core technology of the T2 Hyena-class heavy starship was something I spent a lot of money to extract from the Imperial Starship Research Institute. No matter how powerful the Wei family is, they are just a dog we keep. Huang Zhixiong sneered and nodded. After leaving the Dome restaurant, Zhao Chun and his group immediately drew a lot of attention. When students and teachers from both academies saw Zhao Chun walking out happily with the princess and a female officer from the royal fleet, their guesses were basically confirmed. This time, Zhao Chun was the one who received the honor. Big Sister Wei. This time the royal fleet personally came to award the title. Why is that? Can you tell me a little? Zhao Chun asked curiously, standing beside Commander Wei. With the female soldiers escorting them nearby, their conversation was quite private. Can't you tell? Commander Wei looked at Zhao Chun with a smile. Is it because of my older sister? Zhao Chun asked. Commander Wei smiled, but said nothing. Zhao Chun tentatively asked, since my older sister has been with the princess, she rarely contacts our family. I wonder what her official position is with the princess? Zhao Chun, don't ask about things you shouldn't, she replied. As for your recent award, it's quite reasonable. You deserve it. But such a big ceremony is a special case, she added. Just don't let your sister's training of you go to waste. Actually, when I was with the princess, I learned a bit about you. I heard you weren't very capable at first and was annoyed about your family's arrangements. But now it seems those rumors weren't entirely true. A starship daringly entered the insectoid hive's territory. That's not something an ordinary person can do, Commander Wei said with admiration in her eyes. Just luck, I guess, Zhao Chun said with a shy smile. Since Commander Wei didn't want to discuss her sister further, Zhao Chun didn't ask more. They just had a simple chat. Soon, they arrived at the location where the Royal Fleet's flagship was docked. Brother Zhao Chun, we'll leave you here. We shouldn't stay too long. We need to head back. If you get the chance, come to the Imperial Capital Star System. Your sister will show you around, Commander Wei said, looking at the young man in front of her. She thought he was promising. Despite his great achievements, he was modest and respectful. She had a good impression of him. Big Sister Wei, just a moment. I have prepared some gifts for you to take back to the starship and share with the sisters, Zhao Chun suddenly said. At that moment, Lilith, leading a group of female crew members, pushed several cargo boxes over. Gifts? Commander Wei looked a bit surprised as she looked at the boxes. A few small gifts, perfect for the sisters, Zhao Chun said, opening one of the boxes to reveal some fruit inside. Seeing the fruit, Commander Wei's eyes lit up. Natural ingredients are rare, but as female officers serving in the Royal Fleet, they can usually get such things. However, fruit is something you can only enjoy a few times a year. And now, Zhao Chun was actually giving them several boxes. Brother Zhao Chun, these gifts, Commander Wei hesitated. Just consider them gifts for my sister. Sorry to trouble you, Commander Wei. These fruits are very good. They can help with beauty and health, Zhao Chun said with a smile. Maybe not many women can resist words like beauty and health. In the end, Commander Wei accepted the gifts and had her female soldiers load the boxes onto the starship. Her impression of Zhao Chun improved once again. Just before Commander Wei boarded the ship, she suddenly leaned close to Zhao Chun's ear and whispered, I can't say much about your sister, but her position is above mine. After saying this, Commander Wei took her leave. This simple sentence contained a lot of meaning. Commander Wei is part of one of the 10 fleet-level divisions under the Princess's Royal Guard fleet. There are only 10 fleet commanders like her. But Wei Shishir said that Zhao Chun's sister's position is even higher than hers. This is a big deal. Wei Shishir returned to the starship and immediately went to the bridge. On the captain's chair sat a female officer, and in front of her was a surveillance video showing Zhao Chun. Lord Yu, really don't want to go down and meet your brother? Wei Shishi respectfully looked at the officer. The female officer replied calmly, That's enough. Prepare to return to port. The female officer's lips curved into a slight smile as she softly said, Just leave one portion for me. The rest can be shared among your fleet sisters. After all, this time it's for my brother, so I appreciate you coming all this way. Thank you, sir, Wei Shishi thought happily. The female officer looked at the young man in the picture. She raised her hand, and her gentle hand seemed to touch the face of the figure on the screen, as if they were touching each other. After the princess and royal guard fleet left, Zhao Chun said goodbye to teacher Qin, Su Lan, and Xue Xiaoxiao. They would return to the Beijing Star Academy with the fleet. Zhao Chun went back to the Starship Bridge. When he stepped onto the bridge, several eyes turned to look at him. Among them, Zhao Wanner crossed her arms and squinted at Zhao Chun, then looked at Chu Xian, whose cheeks were slightly red. Big brother, tell me, when did I get a sister-in-law? And you've even become a son-in-law of the Chu family? That's impressive. Wanner, I told you. There must be some misunderstanding here, Chu Xian said nervously, avoiding eye contact with Zhao Chun. What exactly does that old man want to do? General Chu's arrangement. I didn't expect that either. But the relationship between Chu Xian and me is probably just a cover, something set up to keep me safe for now, Zhao Chun explained. Zhao Wanner looked at Zhao Chun, then at Chu Xian, and temporarily accepted this explanation. That makes sense. The Chu family wouldn't really want their grandson-in-law to be my big brother. Chu Xian kept trying to send a communication request to her grandfather, but all were rejected. Meanwhile, just after leaving the starport and approaching the Chu family fleet, the T3 Storm Snow ship received a message. It was from the T4 North Wind God-class heavy starship, signed by Chu Changhe. The message said Chu Changhe wanted to visit Zhao Chun's T3 Storm Snow. Chu the Admiral coming to visit? This arrangement surprised Zhao Chun. He wondered if the old man was brave enough to go to someone else's starship, or if he truly believed in him now. Chu Xian and Zhao Wanner also saw the message, but the title made Chu Xian's cheeks turn even redder. Granddaughter-in-law? Chu Xian was so angry and embarrassed that she wished she could pull the old man's beard right now. Let's go welcome them, Zhao Chun said. After all, he was a duke of the empire and the governor of the star domain. People were willing to risk coming to Zhao Chun's spaceship, so welcoming them was only natural. Okay, Zhao Wanner nodded. Although she was a bit surprised by Zhao Chun and Chu Xian's identities, she was also curious about this legendary marshal. Charlotte, keep the spaceship moving at a steady speed to follow the Chu family's fleet, Zhao Chun ordered. Zhao Chun's T3 Blizzard and the Chu family's fleet were both heading steadily toward the starport in the Lantian star system. Yes, Charlotte replied. Zhao Chun and his group also went to the spaceship's hangar to wait for Governor Chu's shuttle. During this time, Zhao Wanner asked about the royal fleet and learned that her older brother had been promoted to a viscount of the empire. Considering Zhao Chun's rescue of the teachers and students from the two academies, this award made sense. Soon, a shuttle docked in the hangar. When the door opened, only an old man and a military officer acting as a guard came out. A grand 5-star marshal, and he only brought one guard? That was a bit too confident. Grandpa Chu, this is a little gift I brought for you. All local specialties from the Chu River Star region. The governor, Chu, carried a gift box with a kind smile, dressed in loose casual clothes instead of military uniform. At first glance, it looked like a friendly visit between relatives. To see. See what? Chu Xian angrily rushed to her grandfather. You need to explain what's going on. What exactly is this grandson-in-law doing? Oh, my granddaughter is shy now, Chu said with a smile. Ever since she met my grandson-in-law, she keeps mentioning him in front of me, saying how good he is, how nice he is. After we first met, she even went all the way to the Arctic Fox starport to find him. Later, after I brought her back to the family, she insisted on going to the North Star Academy to find Xiao Zhao, crying, throwing fits, even threatening to hang herself if she couldn't go. Sigh? Girls grow up and leave home, but I didn't expect you to sneak onto someone else's spaceship. If Xiao Zhao weren't so capable, do you know what could have happened? You might have been eaten by bugs in that alien bug-infested zone. Governor Chu looked serious and gently tapped Chu Xian's head with his hand. Upon hearing this, Zhao Wan'er looked at Chu Xian with a subtle expression. Chu Xian, a brave woman on the battlefield who isn't afraid of bugs, was now blushing so much that it seemed like her face might bleed. You? What are you talking about? Chu Xian hurriedly stomped her feet in frustration. Governor Chu squinted and smiled, saying, "Did I just say something untrue?" Chu Xian was stunned. What her grandfather said earlier was true, but the problem was that those things didn't happen the way he described. Why did they sound so different coming from his mouth? Also, she went to Beijing Academy because he asked her to get to know Zhao Chun. Now it seemed like she was the one chasing after Zhao Chun, but she couldn't openly say this. It made Chu Xian feel like she was swallowing bitter medicine but couldn't speak about it. "All right, I will explain everything to you later," Governor Chu said, patting his granddaughter's shoulder and whispering in her ear, "Does Grandpa look like he would hurt you?" Although she was embarrassed and angry at her grandfather's behavior, Chu Xian knew he would never do anything to harm her. "If I don't get a reasonable explanation later, I will pluck all your beard hairs," Chu Xian said fiercely. "Grandpa, can Zhao Xiao take me to tour this legendary starship?" Governor Chu smiled and approached Zhao Chun. He initially wanted to call him son-in-law, but seeing Chu Xian's ready hand, he reluctantly backed down to protect his precious beard. "Please, this way," Zhao Chun invited Governor Chu. Governor Chu smiled and looked at Zhao Chun's companions, including Zhao Wan'er. Zhao Chun immediately understood what he meant. "Wan'er, you and the others go to the bridge first and check what good things the princess sent earlier. If you like them, just take them, since they couldn't sell the items anyway. If they liked them, giving them away was fine." Okay. Zhao Wan'er saw that her brother wanted to have a private talk with Governor Chu, so she wisely left. "Shinner, share the local specialties from Chua Star Domain and those kids' gifts with them." Governor Chu handed the gift box to Chu Xian. Chu Xian wasn't stupid. She rolled her eyes at her grandfather and said, "I'm waiting for your explanation. If I don't like it, I won't let this go." A group of people left, leaving Zhao Chun and Governor Chu with only the guard officer who was following them. The officer was very considerate and kept a few meters behind Zhao Chun and Governor Chu, giving them enough privacy. "I want to ask you," Governor Chu said as he walked, "about your actions during the rescue of the students and staff from the two academies. Were those actions intentional? What was your purpose?" Zhao Chun didn't answer directly. Instead, he asked back, "Governor Chu, why do you say I am your son-in-law? What is your real intention behind that?" Both questions were very straightforward. Governor Chu didn't mind who asked or answered. He simply said, "Right now, you are a shining treasure, especially with this T3 Blizzard-class light starship cruiser. Many space powers will want to get you. For example, today's Blue Fatty group. They looked a bit aggressive, thinking this is their territory, so they dared to attack first, trying to strike before others. But I didn't expect to be here today. As for calling you my granddaughter's husband, you need a cover identity to protect you. Otherwise, even if you return to North Star Academy, trouble will keep coming your way. Honestly, I don't care if you have trouble, but if those problems delay your promised T4 Starship research and development, I won't agree," he said, glancing at Zhao Chun. "Of course, I also admire you, young man. You're one of the few men my granddaughter doesn't dislike. If you really get the chance to become my son-in-law in the future, I might consider it," he added. "Are you joking about your granddaughter's lifelong happiness and reputation?" Zhao Chun asked in surprise. Governor Chu then said, "I won't hide it. Before, a few princes from the royal family wanted to marry my granddaughter. Even the old man sitting on that chair mentioned it to me. I don't care about others' opinions, but I owe that old man too much. If I keep refusing, it wouldn't be right. So I thought I could use you as a shield. And as for reputation, haha, who dares to say a bad word about my granddaughter? If you have the ability, first ask my god of the north wind." Governor Chu is so bold and unconventional. This explains his actions quite well. It's a win-win situation. On one hand, it solves the royal family's marriage plan. On the other, it protects Zhao Chun, allowing him to focus on studying the T4 starship. It also ties Zhao Chun to the Chu family's interests. Governor Chu stopped speaking. Since the other person is so honest, Zhao Chun has nothing to hide. Everyone can see that his rescue plan is a clever strategy. I intentionally took some actions during the rescue mission. Since the T3 Blizzard needs to be exposed, I decided to make the exposure more complete to attract more attention. It's safer to stand in the open street than to be attacked in a dark corner. Also, on the way back, I deliberately upset some noble heirs, showing I am stubborn and eccentric, with no ties to any noble forces. This way, I can stay relatively safe. Some people might think I am their enemy, and will try to eliminate me. But if anyone wants to attack me, they would need to use open methods like Governor Blue, or else they wouldn't dare to secretly harm me. After all, I am still a young hero, right? Governor Chu's actions surprised him a bit, but he thought it was the best situation right now. Zhao Chen shared his thoughts. Governor Chu nodded. Your original idea is good. You also considered the reckless behavior of people like Blue. But aren't you worried that if I and the royal fleet hadn't shown up today, you wouldn't have survived? I am confident I can leave alive, but it will be in the least desirable way, Zhao Chen said coldly. Governor Chu looked at Zhao Chen for a long time. For some reason, he felt he had made a very wise decision. If he hadn't appeared here today, the Starshine Empire might have gained a new enemy. A terrifying enemy. He didn't know why, but looking at this young man in his early 20s, he had an instinctive feeling of unease. Since Governor Chu is here today, I believe you are very satisfied with the technology of the T3 Flame Dragon-class medium interstellar destroyer. Zhao Chen looked at Governor Chu. Governor Chu nodded and did not hold back his praise. The cost is 5 million stars per ship, which is definitely worth the price. Although its performance is not the best among T3 interstellar warships, it offers the best value for money and is truly built for war. I have already arranged for the shipyard factory to start trial production. Within 3 months, the first batch of T3 Flame Dragon-class medium interstellar destroyers will be completed and put into service. As expected from the Chu family, they can build whatever they want without worrying about manufacturing conditions or funds. This is the confidence of a large and powerful family. Rest assured, I will keep my previous promise. For the first batch, I plan to build 30 T3 Flame Dragon-class medium interstellar destroyers. Based on 30 times the manufacturing cost as the technology licensing fee and market trading rules, I will transfer a 30% advance payment to you shortly, which is 1.5 billion stars. After the 30 ships are completed, the remaining payment will be made. The extra amount will be considered as my sponsorship for your research. Governor Chu's words made Zhao Chen's heart skip a beat. 30% advance. 1.5 billion stars. That totals to 5 billion stars. Once all 30 T3 Flame Dragon-class destroyers are in service, Zhao Chen can sit back and earn 3.5 billion stars. No wonder the Chu family is so wealthy. This wave of technology licensing fees is worth tens of billions of stars. When he traded with Li Yaqi before, he only asked for an advance of 20 million stars to ensure the smooth production and service of his 30 ships. Indeed, to make big money, you need high-level advanced starships. The profit from selling 60 or 70 T2 starships might not compare to the profit from one T3 interstellar warship, especially considering the time and labor costs involved. The difference is huge. Yes. If you have any questions or doubts about the technology, contact me immediately. I am available 24 hours a day. Zhao Chen's smile on his face was brighter than ever. Looking at Governor Chu, the more he looked, the more he felt that this old man was so handsome and refined. Don't cause any big trouble during this time. The empire has been quite peaceful lately, Governor Chu casually said. This made Zhao Chen feel uneasy. These important people often know things that most others don't, because of their high position, which is beyond most people's reach. Governor Chu, do you know something about what might happen soon? Zhao Chen asked, looking at him. Governor Chu replied calmly, it's nothing special. As long as you don't get involved, you won't be affected. For now, your value isn't enough to make those interstellar powers risk opposing our Chu family to target you. Of course, it's best if you stay within the North Wind and Chu River Star regions, Zhao Chen nodded. Now that he had the 15 billion star coins as starting capital, he could truly begin building his plans in the Dragon territory. Whoever wants to come, let them come. Next time he appears, he will definitely bring a super interstellar fleet. Let those blue giants and yellow mice kneel and sing their conquest. An old man and a young man toured around a T3 Storm-class light interstellar battleship, chatting a lot during their walk. Half of their talk was about the technical details of the T3 Flame Dragon-class medium interstellar destroyer. Zhao Chen could tell Governor Chu's purpose. The technical questions were very professional, and he was testing whether Zhao Chun was the one developing this starship technology. But for Zhao Chun, who has top-tier starship engineering talent, those questions were very easy. What surprised Zhao Chun was that Governor Chu didn't ask much about the T3 storm. He thought Chu would want the starship technology for this T3 battleship, but he only asked about the cost and some simple questions. Just as they were about to reach the bridge, Zhao Chun asked a question. You say this T3 storm is really good, but you mentioned the cost is 13 million star coins, right? That doesn't suit my fleet, and I, as an old man, believe one shouldn't be too greedy. The T3 flame dragon is enough, Governor Chu explained. Zhao Chun quickly understood the reason. The T3 storm's combat power is indeed impressive, but its best feature is its high maneuverability. However, Governor Chu, he mainly commands large-scale battles. The main fights are still the frontline Legion battles, which are currently focused on defense. Compared to that, the T3 Blizzard, which costs only 5 million stars, is less powerful but more suitable for the battlefield than the T3 Flame Dragon. Another reason is that even the Chu family cannot produce unlimited T3 interstellar warships. These ships require a lot of resources. First, we should mass-produce the T3 Flame Dragon and add them to the fleet. As for the T3 Blizzard, Zhao Chun has already committed to the Chu family's plans, so there's no need to worry about it. When they entered the bridge, Chu Xian and Lilith were admiring the gifts given by the princess. Grandpa, Chu Xian said, walking over when she saw him. We've talked enough, and we're almost at the Stargate. Xian, it's time for us to go home, said Governor Chu. Oh, go back. Chu Xian looked a little unhappy. She felt that staying close to Zhao Chun was exciting. She could experience various battles, even better than being in the Imperial Army. Xiao Zhao gave us a technical blueprint for a T3 interstellar warship. Don't you want to be the first to test this T3 ship? Governor Chu's words immediately sparked Chu Xian's curiosity. This old man really understood his granddaughter's little thoughts. Let me see you two off, Zhao Chun said as he took the governor to the hangar where the shuttle was parked. On the way, Zhao Chun casually asked how Governor Chu's fleet managed to reach the Blue Star region without alerting Governor Blue. Governor Chu smiled mysteriously and said, The Empire likes to send some people to me to earn military merits. There are some weaklings like Huang Zhixiong, but also some promising talents. I don't mind training these good prospects. After some experience in my fleet, they naturally won't stay on the border. They go back to their homes or make connections. In the Blue Star region, I also have students I once mentored. His fief is near the Lantian star system. My fleet first heads to his Stargate, then uses warp speed to reach Lantian. Because we're all using T3 interstellar warships, the journey is much easier. It takes less than a day. I timed it perfectly. It was just right. Does your student revealing your relationship risk retaliation from the Blue Governor? Zhao Chun asked. Governor Chu snorted coldly. If he had discovered it himself before, he would have given me trouble. But now that he openly stands on my side, that blue guy probably won't do anything. He doesn't need to offend me over a small lord. Moreover, many interstellar forces are interconnected. There are eyes from your side and mine. Even in my Chu River Star domain, there are spies planted by the Blue Governor, the royal family, and others. Zhao Chun understood that this was a common unspoken rule among these high-level players. All right, let's end it here. I'm looking forward to the gift you promised me, Governor Chu said, placing his hand on Zhao Chun's shoulder, subtly exerting pressure. Anyone else might have backed down instantly, but Zhao Chun, who had undergone 3 rounds of super soldier serum modifications, was unafraid. He remained completely still. Good, good. Governor Chu laughed loudly, pounding his fist on Zhao Chun's chest, feeling even more pleased with this young man. After saying goodbye, Chu Xian followed Governor Chu on a shuttle back to the Chu family fleet. On the shuttle, Grandpa, can you explain to me what exactly this son-in-law thing is all about? Chu Xian looked at Governor Chu's beard with curious eyes. Cough, cough. Governor Chu quickly shielded his beard, knowing that only Chu Xian could make him feel truly afraid in this world. He didn't hide anything, telling Chu Xian everything about his cooperation with Zhao Chun, including the agreement to give AT-4 interstellar battleship after 3 years. He actually has the ability to develop a T-4 interstellar battleship? How is that possible? Chu Xian was stunned. That man, younger than herself by a few years, had already touched the field of T for interstellar battleships. At first, she didn't believe it, but when she handed over the T3 Flame Dragon to her 3 Starship research institutes, the engineers, scientists, and researchers told her what? They said that the technology of the T3 Flame Dragon far exceeded their capabilities, and in fact, there were no others in the Starry Empire with such skills. They also asked me which master this was and which top Starship Research Institute's achievement it belonged to. I didn't mention Zhao Chun. Commander Chu Xin looked at him. Now you understand why I arranged for him to be your son-in-law, right? I told him 3 reasons, but there was actually a 4th. He has great potential, and I am very satisfied with him. Also, you're not young anymore. Your parents passed away early, and I owe them. I swear to take good care of you. The royal family's young men wanted to marry you, but I refused immediately. They're not suitable, and once they enter that circle, they'll never get out. I don't want you to get involved in their schemes and darkness. Compared to that, Zhao Chun, who built everything from nothing, is easier to control. Once this storm passes, you can go find Zhao Chun again. If you two are truly a good match, I might even accept him as your husband. Use Chu family resources to train him. Make it real. Grandpa, what are you saying? Chu Xin blushed and glared at her grandfather, but she didn't threaten to pull his beard anymore. It seems she has accepted this idea. Chu Xin comforted herself, thinking it was just to protect Zhao Chun. After all, she owed him some favors. It's just a status, and she won't lose anything. After parting from the Chu family fleet, Zhao Chun's T3 Blizzard traveled through the Lantian star system Stargate and finally returned to the Northern Star System after several days. Zhao Chun didn't go back to the Northern Star Academy, but headed straight to the Xianglong base. This rescue operation for the students and teachers took nearly 10 days. During this time, the 2 T2 Hammer-class heavy star industrial ships at Xianglong base kept working without rest. According to Zhao Chun's original production plan, if the current schedule was completed, they would continue producing T2 hammers. He never thought these star auxiliary ships would be too many. Now, on the existing 2 T2 hammers expansion platforms, there are already hull frames for 2 more T2 hammers. They are expected to be completed and put into service by mid-April. Zhao Chun and Lilith left the T3 Blizzard and took a shuttle to the T2 Hammer No. 1 ship. Commander, a tall woman over 2 meters, a female minotaur wearing work clothes, stands in front of Zhao Chun. She can lift Zhao Chun's head with one hand. The female minotaur has a pair of horns on her head, well-shaped muscular limbs, healthy wheat-colored skin, drooping ears, and a small tail behind her. If she were in Zhao Chun's previous life, she would definitely be a fit and beautiful woman. Zhao Chun glanced at a certain area and wondered if such a large obstacle would interfere with her work. And, could her race be the cow family? Zhao Chun withdrew his thoughts. Is your name Jenny? You're actually able to remember my name. Jenny looked at Zhao Chun excitedly. Jenny is the captain and chief engineer of the T2 Iron Hammer. She used to be part of Charlotte's fleet, mainly responsible for starship repair and construction. She works hard and is willing to accept any task without complaints. Although her natural talent might be a bit lacking, she is definitely a good employee. This is why she became the first captain and chief engineer of the T2 Iron Hammer heavy starship. Of course, Jenny, since you're working here for our Falcon Dragon fleet, and the starships we pilot all have your contribution, I definitely remember you. Tell me, what reward would you like? Zhao Chun said, placing his hand on Jenny's shoulder. Well, can I hug the commander? Jenny looked at Zhao Chun eagerly. Then she quickly waved her hand and shyly said, maybe that's too rude of me. If you don't want to, it's okay. No, I don't mind. I'm just surprised that you would ask for that. Zhao Chun replied with a smile. Jenny happily touched her horns and said, I used to work with General Charlotte because I am the biggest eater among our people. My parents couldn't afford to keep me, so they gave me to a passing General Charlotte. She treated me well. I followed her. Even though I didn't get enough to eat, at least I wouldn't starve. Later, General Charlotte took us to work for you. At first, I was a little scared, but then I realized that General Charlotte's decision was perfect. Commander, you are like a god to us. Here, we no longer suffer from oppression, and we can eat every day. I can eat a big bowl of rice every day. For the first time in my life, I understand what it feels like to be full. So I have always admired you, Commander. If I could just hug you, that would make me happy. I don't need any other rewards. This really is a simple girl. All right then, Zhao Chun said with a smile, opening his arms. But soon, Zhao Chun started to regret it. He is now 1.8 meters tall, but Jenny, the cow-headed girl, is over 2 meters tall. Most importantly, this simple girl wouldn't bend down to hug Zhao Chun. She just came straight up and hugged him tightly. This made Zhao Chun feel like he was suffocating. Ugh, 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 Zhao Chun struggled. Seeing that the situation was getting out of hand, Lilith, who was nearby, quickly stopped Jenny, who was so excited she had forgotten the time. Sorry. I got too excited just now. Jenny hurriedly let go and looked nervously at the commander. It's okay, Zhao Chun forced a small smile. Jenny's strength was really impressive. Zhao Chun now understood why there were rumors about some special beings among the beast tribes. One punch could break the armor of a T-1 starship. Zhao Chun, who had just been injected with the T-3 super soldier serum, couldn't break free from Jenny's grip for a moment. Her strength was truly astonishing. If it were an ordinary person, this hug would probably have shattered them. Jenny, I came to talk to you about an important matter. It's about the starship construction plans for the next few months, Zhao Chun said, raising his hand to show a list he had prepared earlier. Jenny looked at the digital document, confused. Then she shyly scratched her head and said, Commander, I won't lie to you. I find this stuff really confusing. Charlotte General used to tell me step by step what to do. Honestly, if I were just a craftsman or a starship engineer or repair worker, that would be fine. But being a captain? That's really not for me. If you hadn't assigned Annie to the second ship some time ago, I would have borrowed her for a few days. When you, Charlotte, and Lilith are not around, I really don't know how to organize the work. Annie is here, Zhao Chun asked. Yes, she's over at Console 4. That child is not only good at her work, but also very smart. She can understand things that I find confusing immediately. Moreover, she has improved the efficiency of some starship construction steps through her adjustments. Jenny praised Annie enthusiastically right from the start. Zhao Chun didn't expect Annie to become so skilled so quickly in operating the T-2 Hammer-class heavy starship industrial vessel. Actually, he had already thought that the first group of half-beast artisans might not meet the future construction needs. They may be hardworking, but most half-beasts have simple minds. If you ask them to do one thing, they might do it well, but if you ask them to manage everything, they often mess up. Only a few, like Charlotte, are exceptionally talented among the half-beasts. Take me to see Annie, Zhao Chun said. Sure, Commander. Please follow me, Jenny said, walking into a nearby rectangular corridor. These rectangular corridors connect to any workstation on the T-2 Hammer-class heavy starship, making it very convenient. Soon, Zhao Chun saw Annie. Annie was wearing a special spacesuit. It looked more like a toy than a work uniform. The helmet was larger than usual. The transparent glass clearly showed Annie's small round face. She was holding a lollipop in her mouth and operating a mechanical arm much bigger than herself, working on the starship's keel under construction. After finishing her task, Annie pressed the return button on her suit, and it automatically returned to the small cabin in the rectangular corridor. Outside, the craftsmen first returned to these small cabins, filled them with oxygen, and expelled harmful space elements. Then they could take off their suits and return to the corridor. Hee, only 20 minutes left before I get off work. I'm going to the starship cafeteria to hang out. Today, I'm having Annie's favorite shredded beef. Annie said happily, holding her gear and muttering as she walked out. Unfortunately, Annie saw a pair of rare military-style boots on the starship, specifically a men's pair. Annie's expression suddenly stiffened, as if a worker leaving early had just bumped into the boss in the elevator. Annie didn't dare lift her head. She slowly turned around, trembling as she mumbled, Annie is just here to get some tools. Annie will go back to work soon. Annie wasn't sneaking away. Annie didn't leave early. Annie just wanted to eat hand-shredded beef at the restaurant. But before she could take a few steps, she felt a pair of big hands pressed down on her head. Annie immediately turned around, showing a surprised and happy look. Oh, Commander, what are you doing here? Annie is working hard right now. Absolutely, she's not slacking off. This girl is just too cute. People say dwarves have a short fuse, and Zhao Chun now fully believes it. Laliris, standing nearby, was struggling to hold back her laughter. Looks like Annie really enjoys her work. Zhao Chun squinted at Annie. Annie straightened up, looking sincere. Annie loves working. She even wants to work 24 hours a day. All right then, I see the deadline is tight, so you can work 3 more hours of overtime, Zhao Chen said happily. 3 hours. Annie's eyes widened. She instinctively looked sad. 3 hours. The limited time shredded beef will be sold out. So, Annie prefers shredded beef more than work? Zhao Chen looked at her with a half smile. Annie lowered her head, looking like a child who had made a mistake, staring at her toes. All right, Annie. The commander isn't here to scold you. He's here to talk about work. Lalira stepped in to help the little girl. Still need to work? Annie pouted, touching her small belly. Zhao Chen chuckled. Let's go to the restaurant to talk about work. My treat today, really? Annie's face lit up instantly. Her big, watery eyes stared at Zhao Chen eagerly, and she even drooled a little. Don't believe me? Then never mind. Zhao Chen shrugged. I believe. Our commander is the best of the best. Annie wiped the corner of her mouth and flattered him. Jenny, lead the way. Let's go to the Starship restaurant to eat and talk, Zhao Chen said. Yes, Jenny led the way ahead. Soon, they arrived at the Starship restaurant of the T2 Hammer-class heavy interstellar industrial ship, number 1. Perhaps because they didn't expect the commander to appear here, the crew members all looked excitedly at Zhao Chen, as if they had seen a big star. Is it really the commander treating us? Annie's big, watery eyes asked again, confirming with Zhao Chen. She seemed worried that Zhao Chen might be joking. Zhao Chen helplessly looked at the chef, who was staring at him blankly. Their meals are on me. He then had a small robot scan his face. I want this, that, this, and this. Serve me a big bowl of that. As Zhao Chen finished speaking, Annie quickly placed her order. She then smiled at Zhao Chen, opened her hands behind her, and bowed her upper body so much that her head almost touched her knees. Thank you, Commander, for the treat. Annie was really fast. Letting the commander pay is not right. I should be the one treating, Jenny said, scratching her head. But Annie was unapologetic, patting Jenny on the waist. Niojia, your salary is enough for that. You can eat enough on your own. If you treat us, you'll be drinking cold wind for the next half-month. Don't be so polite to the commander. Want a hand-torn beef? Oh, right, Niojia, you don't eat beef. How about your favorite lamb chops? Jenny looked a bit shy and embarrassed, seeming reluctant to let the commander spend so much. It's okay. I said I would treat, so I will treat, Zhao Chen said. After speaking, he started to regret a little. He wasn't worried about the cost, but about whether his meal standard was enough. He had his own rules before, with a set standard for meals, even for himself as the commander, which was the highest. But now, looking at a meal enough for 10 people, and seeing Jenny's silly face, Zhao Chen didn't know what to say. He could only silently check if his meal standard was sufficient. Fortunately, it was enough. Zhao Chen looked at the seats in the Starship restaurant. Clearly, they were about twice as large as each table on the T3 Blizzard. Annie then took Zhao Chen and the others to a large round table with a diameter of 5 meters. Do we four really need such a big table? Zhao Chen was a bit surprised as he looked at Annie sitting opposite him. Commander, you'll see soon whether you need it or not, Annie said mysteriously. Half an hour later, Zhao Chen looked at the stacks of plates in front of the two food lovers, one big and one small, and finally understood why such a large table was needed. He stared at Annie's stomach, curious about how she, being so small, managed to eat a whole bowl of shredded beef. Could her stomach really hold it? Or was there some other dimension inside? Burp. Well, Commander, what brings you to find me today? Annie, full and satisfied, remembered that the commander wanted to talk to her. I'm planning the construction schedule for the next few months. I want you to look it over and see if there are any problems or suggestions, Zhao Chen said, raising his hand to open an electronic document. It listed the names of several starships. T3 Andromeda-class interstellar medical ship. T3 Goddess Academy-class starship. T3 Phantom Stinger-class light stealth starship. T2 Snow Mastiff-class heavy starship. T2 Lion King-class heavy missile ship. All these starships are new designs I've never seen before. Annie looked at Zhao Chen in surprise. Zhao Chen pointed at the starships. I've made a simple edit of the basic technology needed for construction, raw materials, construction requirements, approximate construction time, and so on. The detailed blueprints and technical drawings will be added later into the T2 Hammer-class heavy industrial starship blueprint system. Annie began to read the brief descriptions of these starships carefully. Jenny also leaned in to look. Zhao Chun had already allowed her to see them before, but at that time she couldn't make a full plan, so she declined. If it was just about the construction